Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the app today.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Everybody, and welcome back to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us today on a crazy. This is one of the. It's going to be a favorite. This is one of those where, and it's a sneaky one. It's a sport we've never done.
Oh.
Didn't even know what it was. It's a guy I've never heard of. And sometimes those are the best episodes. Got guys like Ben Cousins and guys like that out of it that we had no idea even existed in the world.
Yeah.
And this is going to be one of them. This guy is a party. Let's just say a party. A walking human party. We'll get into it, though, very quickly before we start. First of all, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com.
Yeah.
Tickets to live shows throughout the country for Small Town Murder, especially Chicago, August 12th. Get your tickets. It's going to be it's already our biggest show ever, so we're very excited. We can't wait. We're going to do a special Chicago-only live show. Get in there. Also, Dallas, Charlotte, Atlanta, and I think there's a few tickets left in Philly. Otherwise, all sold out for the rest of the year. Thank you for doing that, everybody. Shutupandgivememurder.com. Definitely head to patreon.com/crime and sports is where you get all of your bonus materials.
Yeah.
And there's a shitload. It's $5. Anybody $5 a month or above, you get everything. A cup of coffee gets you the whole thing. A big back catalog of a couple hundred bonus episodes.
Right.
And new ones every other week, including one Small Town Murder, one Crime and Sports. You get access to all of it. It's all yours. This week, what we're going to do for Crime and Sports, it was so fun, we have to go back to it quickly. We're going to do Theme Park Disasters Part 2.
Great!
Because that was a lot of fun. We need that one again back. So we're going to do that. And then for Small Town Murder, we're going to talk about a subject that a lot of people have requested for Patreon. Happened in the early 70s here, the Stanford Prison Experiment. We're going to talk about that. And a couple of other things that happened after that were similar. So this was.
Tell me more.
If you don't know what that is, that's for an experiment, psychological thing. They took a bunch of students and said, half of you are guards, half of you are prisoners, just to see how they would act. And it was wild.
God.
What happened was insane. It went bonkers. So we'll talk all about that. Patreon.com/crime and sports. It's really whacked out. So that's a lot of fun. Get in there. And I have nothing else to plug. Oh, Your Stupid Opinions is coming soon. We got it all settled, so we're excited. We're going to have a date for you, though, an actual date, because I guess there's some marketing they're going to try to do, and we're going to try to get people to listen to this bad boy. You know how that goes.
Great.
So that said, let's get into it with our lunatic psychopath asshole of the day here. Let's do it, everybody. Let's talk about Alexander Gordon Higgins is his name. Nickname, the Hurricane.
Oh, yeah.
The Hurricane, not the other Hurricane, the boxer who was in jail and all that. This is a different Hurricane. He is a tiny little Irishman, so complete different Hurricane. Like, you couldn't get two more different physical human beings next to each other than Reuben Carter and this Hurricane. But Alex Higgins is what he goes by. If you don't know who he is, he plays snooker. Do you know what snooker is? Jimmie?
I don't know what snooker is. It snooker or snooker?
Trust me, it's snooker. They are very particular about the pronunciation. It is snooker, not snooker. Trust me. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What size, how big do you think the field is that they play snooker on? Snooker.
I didn't know they played it on a field.
How big do you think the field is? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think it is? Tell me what your description of.
Like a baseball diamond.
No, it's smaller. Think smaller.
Smaller,
like a pool table. It's a fucking billiards game.
Is it really?
Yes, I had no idea. When I heard snooker, I always pictured somewhere between cricket and croquet. I pictured that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like part walking, but then they run sometimes.
I can't hear you say snooker ever again.
It's so weird, right? But they're so particular about it. Can't be snooker. It has to be snooker. It's fucking, they're nuts about it over there. I'm telling you. It's crazy.
You're telling me that foul-mouthed Italian girl from Jersey is not a champion snooker?
You mean Jimmie Superfly Snooker? Because that's how a New Yorker would say it. Yeah. I'm playing snooker. I'm going to play some snooker. You guys come in. Off the top rope and shit. You know what I mean? I'm going to go. That means killing a broad by a roadside motel off the Pennsylvania Turnpike. That's playing snooker. It's different than playing snooker.
Where you sleep a gal instead of paying her $30.
Yeah. That's the difference. She was not. No, that was his girl. She was not a prostitute.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
It's worse. It was his girlfriend. Way worse.
I thought you were just making like a super move.
No.
I didn't think about it being Jimmie.
Jimmie, Superfly Snooker. That's a New York
so you
snooker.
Sleep your girlfriend.
Yeah, and a roadside motel off the Pennsylvania Turnpike. That's how that works. Outside Allentown.
What are the rules to this dumb game?
Oh, we're going to talk about it. You don't think we're going to talk about the rules? Remember when we tried to figure out cricket? That was fun. This is way crazier. I was watching this and I'm like, I don't know what the rules are here. This is crazy. So I looked them up and they're more complicated than I could possibly imagine. Anyway, well, Alex Higgins is born March 18th, 1949. Yeah, they're pretty weird. He's from Belfast, Northern Ireland here. So that's his hometown. And grows up kind of rough, and we'll talk about it. Okay, so his parents are Alexander and Elizabeth Higgins, and his dad is, so I don't know if he's a junior or not, because he's Alexander too. So it doesn't say he's a junior, but his dad's Alexander. We got a possible junior over here, people. That's that's something. We don't know. He's got 3 sisters, and I've seen 2 of them interviewed too, and they talk about him all the time. So he's got 3 sisters. Here's some snooker talk. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you like the Wikipedia description of it here, just to we'll start as basic as it gets. What is snooker? Right. Wikipedia. Okay. A cue sport played on a rectangular billiards table covered with a green cloth called baize with 6 pockets, 1 at each corner and 1 in the middle of each long side. A pool table. It looks like a huge pool table, though. It's like an Olympic-sized pool table. He's still talking about Olympic-sized pools. It's like an Olympic-sized pool table. It looks huge. It's this fucking giant table. So they do that. First played by British Army officers stationed in India in the 1800s, and it's played with 22 balls. Shit. Yeah, 22 balls, a cue ball.
That's a long game.
Dude, matches last a week sometimes.
Yeah, there's 11 balls for each person.
They come back, but like the way it's like frames like tennis too, though. It's fucking crazy. So it's 22 balls, one which is a white cue ball, which is the same as billiards. Yeah. Then it gets completely goes on its own way. 15 red balls and 6 other balls that aren't red. These are a yellow, a green, a brown, a blue, a pink, and a black. And they're called the colors. That's what they call those balls. Those are the colors. Okay. Yeah. So this is what you have. This already, I'm very complicated to remember all these colors and what they do.
It doesn't make any sense already.
Yeah, it's snooker balls, are like billiard balls are typically like they're resin. They're made out of the same shit. They're smaller than American billiard balls, though, pool balls. They're smaller a little bit, I guess, which I don't know what the hell the difference is. It gives the actual diameters of what they are. We definitely don't need to know about that. There's also miniature snooker sets they sell for like at home. You can put in your basement and shit like that. Okay, it says this. Okay, so this isn't me explaining it to you because I have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. I'm reading it, and then we're going to try to figure it out together.
We'll learn it together.
All of us. This together means collectively as a unit. Me, you, and everyone listening right now, besides like 12 British people who are going, it's fucking so easy, mate, you dumb fuck. Okay. There's a group over there with their eyebrows furrowed, just like these dumb fucking Yanks, man. You dumb assholes.
Beat you at my snooker cue,
Jesus Christ. At the beginning of a frame, the balls are set up in the arrangement shown in the illustration, which is all the red balls in a triangle, just like regular pool, okay?
Yeah.
Like they have the same thing. And then the other balls are just like kind of around everything, kind of orbiting.
Just like sporadically placed like Easter eggs?
Well, that's what it says, too. The 6 colors, those are the other balls there, are placed, quote, on their own spots. I don't know where
just
that
put
is.
them where they go.
Just where, you know how it goes. On the balk line, looking up the table from the balk end, the green ball is located where the D meets the line on the left. The brown ball in the middle of the line, and the yellow ball where the D meets the line on the right.
Yeah.
Wow. The order is often remembered by using the mnemonic God bless you, the first letter of each word, green, brown, yellow. So you remember how to put them. That's fucking interesting.
God bless you.
Finally, there's a pink ball that's fucked around. Finally, the black ball is placed on a spot 32.5 centimeters from the top cushion. Get out your micrometers, everybody. We're going to really figure out where this ball goes.
There better be felt circles on this table showing where all this shit goes. Because how the fuck else are you going to do it?
You got a lot of rulers centered from the left to the right, so the brown, blue, pink, and black balls all sit on an imaginary line that bisects the table along its length. Yeah. Does this sound familiar to anybody here?
I don't get it.
Okay. At the beginning of each frame, the balls are set up by the referee. The frame begins with one player taking the cue ball in hand. Okay, that makes sense. I understand cue ball in your hand.
Yeah.
Placing it anywhere on or inside the D, so on his side of the deal over there, and attempting to hit one or more of the red balls on an initial break-off shot. It says a common strategy for it's a break. A common strategy for this shot involves placing the cue ball on the balk line between the brown ball and either the green or yellow ball. The break-off alternatives between players on successive frames. Oh my God! Only one player may visit the table at a time. You got to have a pass and get in. It'd be weird if people were playing at the same time. Pool would be a very different sport if you didn't take turns. Imagine that game. That's the game I want to see. That's chaos.
Yeah. You got a forearm shiver somebody to get a shot on that cue.
It's just hungry hippos, man. They're just, well, everybody get 2 cue balls, I'm saying. You just get to fucking go. There'd be shit flying everywhere. Dangerous. Both going for the 9 at the same time. Oh, shit, get in there quick. You didn't have all this time to line up your shot.
That's a better game.
That's a game I definitely would watch it on TV.
2 cue balls and just trying to clear the table.
Yeah, 2 people bumping into each other. They both have pool sticks to swing at each other. This is going to be fun, right? That's a bar sport. I challenge you to a game of fucking hurricane pool. So, okay, one player at a time. A break is the number of points scored in a single visit to the table. A player's turn and break end when they commit a foul, fail to pot a ball, that just means get a ball in the hole there, or when a frame is complete. The ball or balls that can be hit first by the cue ball are called the balls on for that particular stroke. This makes no fucking sense, and it doesn't. When you watch it, you don't understand who's doing well.
Okay. The ball's on. So can you hit the colored balls?
I have no idea. Okay. A potted color must be followed by a red. Oh, and each player alternates between red and any choice of color until a break ends with a miss. So you alternate. You got to get a red in first.
Red, pink, red, black.
And then red, whatever you want. Okay, and that's how it works. You have to do all of that. All of the reds are on for the break-off shot and for the first shot of any turn. So you always have to get a red first, in which one or more reds are still on the table. So if there's a red on the table, it has to be handled before anything else is handled. Yeah. Now, snooker, this is kind of funny. It originated in the second half of the 19th century, like we said. Billiards was already popular.
Right.
But this game, British Army officers made it up, and one in particular, this game, there was a similar game in the officers' mess of the 11th Devonshire Regiment in 1875. And it put a couple of different games together and made this. And what they ended up doing, a guy named Sir Neville Chamberlain here.
Yeah, Sir Neville.
Sir Neville. He helped devise and popularize the game here. The word at the time was used in the Army to describe new recruits. It was like fresh meat. It was a snooker. And inexperienced people. And he used it they said Chamberlain used to use it to deride the inferior performance of somebody at the table. He'd call him a snooker. And somehow it turned into that. It was in a
game now. Yeah.
1887. It was in Sporting Life newspaper in England, and people got a hold of it, and then, they ended up saying that's where it came from, and that's where it's interesting, though. So it started out as, rich people playing this game because it's an expensive table, and
there's a lot of balls. You got to have a nice cue. It's just like pool. Pool kind of was a status symbol. If you had a pool table in your house, you had some money.
Or you got it used and it was on.
Right, and then it became that.
I had one in my basement, but it was used, and my dad had to make a base for it because it was broken. That's how we got it, because it had no base, and so he made it.
It's cracked.
It was great. I loved it growing up. I was good at it and shit, but it was definitely not we didn't go to a place and be like, pick out the best pool table here. It was his friend was throwing it away, so we decided to make a base for it.
Is that real ivory on the diamonds? I will buy nothing less.
We'll buy nothing less.
Needs to come from an elephant somewhere.
Well, this game, the thing too is the professional game, they had to wear a white shirt, a bow tie, and a waistcoat. So they all look like waiters at a fucking charity gala. All of them. Every player looks like they're gonna, in between getting you some drinks, they're gonna go hit a shot or two and then mix a martini. Mix a fucking dirty Grey Goose up real quick.
Carry a fucking platter of hors d'oeuvres by your table.
It really looks like that. Hold on a second.
Hold this.
I'll be there with the fucking cheese puffs in a minute, you cunts, and just turn around and pow.
Hold these crab rangoons. I'll be right back.
I'm doing well. So then they had more snooker clubs would form over the years and kind of got everybody in here. I don't even know what that means. I'm not even going to say that. So anyway, that's enough snooker history. We don't need to know anything more about that. I'm done with snooker. Okay. Do we know what it means?
Game, it sounds like. It's confusing.
I'm going to show you some highlights later on of some stuff. Just some quick, because this guy that we're going to talk about does the craziest trick shots. I'm not an expert in pool trick shots, and maybe they're not that great, but holy shit, they made me rewind it several times to go, how the fuck did that happen physically? How did the physics work there? How did he do that? It's fucking incredible. He's like a magician. So he's born in Belfast, like we said. He's the only son, 3 sisters. So right away, 3 sisters, the only son.
Yeah.
That's a kind of a coddled existence there. But they grow up kind of, in a poor area. They don't have a lot of money. It's kind of hard scrabble. This is post-World War II in Northern Ireland. It didn't go well. His dad is a wheel tapper.
Oh.
So
that's the guy
I don't know what that is.
I don't know.
That feels very British Isles, doesn't it? I don't know what that. He's got he has soot on his face. I'm pretty sure of that, but I don't know what he's doing.
Wheel tapper.
I
imagine he's putting threads in something, right? Because you got to. That's what a tap is, right?
It could be at a factory. We'd have no idea. It could be a
could
miner.
Have something
we
to do
have
with
no
beer
clue.
Kegs. I don't fucking know.
I don't know. There's a lot of wheels in the world. That's the thing.
Yeah.
When you talk about industry, it's made of wheels. Really, it's wheels and belts and things. And he could be tapping any of these wheels. So how are we to know? His mother is she works as a cleaner now and then. To augment the family's income because they just don't have a lot of money, and he's a decent student in school, but he's not real interested in school. He likes kind of underground things. He wants to see stuff he's not supposed to see. He's that type of kid. He needs to what's in there. I got to look through that. Is there a Playboy in there? He's that kind of kid. So when he's pretty young here, about 10 years old, it's from what I understand from the family, he goes to a place called the Jam Pot.
What is that?
Which is a pool hall, and I saw pictures. There's a BBC documentary that I'll show you a clip of in a little while here. And the BBC documentary on him is they show a picture of this place, and it looks like the back door of a burned abandoned building in the Bronx in the 70s.
Oh.
The back door, not even where the customers would come, but that's the front door where the sign is.
Yeah.
It looks like
and it says Jam Pot right over it.
There's a little sign off to the left that says the Jam Pot Billiards, awesome. And that's it. It looks like a fucking dump. And he said,
shitty bar,
grimy, shitty bar. And he said this is not, wasn't supposed to go in there as kids and stuff, but he would go in there. And at first he would run errands for people.
Oh.
He's kind of like an errand boy in there. A lot of those errands included running bets back and forth.
Okay.
For his father and for other people.
His dad's a bookies.
And he's a bettor too. So this whole, thing is going on. He's living in kind of this underground world, hanging out in a pool hall when he's 10. He's still going to school, but he gets off school and goes right to the jam pot where the action is. He has no interest in anything other than that. So he ends up taking up actually playing. His sister said he would have to stand on a box the first couple of years he played because he couldn't.
To be able to play.
To be able to play.
The table.
He had to fucking stand on a box because he's not a huge guy even when he grows up. So, he ends up doing that, and he ends up playing at the Shaftesbury YMCA, and they have a table there, and then he can really play a lot because it's not adults playing for money, it's kids playing. So he can run tables, and he hustles money from people.
Sick.
Other kids, because you can hustle money from older kids if you don't look very big, and they're like, I'll beat you at pool. You're like, fuck you, you're not beating shit. And then he schools your ass because he's been playing at the jam pot. So
color of money thing, I like it.
It is, and that's the thing about this guy is he's not like one of these coddled athletes because it's not an athlete. He's a fucking pool player. Right. So that's the other thing. If you're going, why this isn't a sport? Why are you playing crime in sports? You know what? This is episode 366. We're looking for awesome stories. And at this point, I don't care if a guy's playing jacks. If his story's crazy, I'm going to cover it. So we're going to get into it.
Overflowing.
Yeah. And this is on TV. It's a sport.
Yeah. I mean, ESPN shows this shit.
If golf is a sport, this is a sport.
If darts are a sport,
that's questionable.
If bowling's a sport, this is a sport.
But it is a sport. It's hard to do. If you had, let's say you were like, a quadriplegic, you couldn't play this well. You just couldn't. It would be impossible. Right. So that's a sport.
And it's more of a mental sport because knowing the geometry and the angles of where you have to hit things,
that's everything.
It's fucking incredible that they can actually do it.
And that's what when I'm watching these videos, I'm like, to get the ball to do the shit that he's getting it to do, and this table's fucking enormous, so it's even harder to get these angles because they're longer and shit. So, like, to calculate force and angles and all this shit perfectly on the fly and execute it is fucking brilliant. It's really is. The angles that there's a shot that he hits that I go, I've never seen that before, and I rewound it 10 times because I was like, that's not real. Like somebody grabbed the ball and put another one on there and to do that. That can't be real. And it's fucking real. So, like I said, it might be nothing, but it is. It seems crazy to me. So he would spend 3 or 4 hours every day after school practicing and playing. Sometimes he would skip school altogether if he could get away with it. Yeah. So he became so good that everybody would talk about it.
Oh, sure.
And then he also couldn't really hustle anybody anymore. He'd have to play straight games because people knew that he could play after a while. So he could do that, though, and he loved to gamble. This our guy here today, things he loves. Okay. Pool, snooker.
Snooker.
Not Jimmie Superfly. Cocaine.
Oh, yeah.
Booze.
Hell yeah.
Cigarettes.
Yep.
Women.
Yeah.
Cocaine.
Yeah.
Cigarettes.
Yeah.
Fighting.
Oh, how's he feel about booze?
And booze is his other main love. The fucked up part is when he's sober, everybody says, nicest guy on earth, but it's so rare to find him in that condition that it's like, he's just a psychopath because he's always shit-faced. By the way, in snooker, he's sitting there off to the side with a fucking pint and smoking in between shots.
Awesome.
The other guy's at the table, he's down in a pint, and he played shit-faced. This is the only sport that you could play on television professionally.
Literally hammered.
And they watch you get shit-faced. You didn't show up and you're like, nah, I'm okay. You're getting drunk. They're watching you get drunker. And he got better as he got drunker, they all said. He was just good at it. So, he's wild. So he likes to gamble a lot. He leaves school in 1964. That's at age 15. So that's not real. That's not done yet, I don't think.
Oh, boy.
So he worked as a messenger for the Irish Linen Company.
Oh.
But then he quit that because it was hard work. So then he said that he spotted a newspaper ad for stable boys at stables in Wantage? I don't know. Wantage and Berkshire.
Yeah.
And he was taken on, and he wanted to be a jockey because he's a small guy.
Oh, he wants to ride horses.
That's his goal. His idol was Lester Piggott.
Oh, yeah, he's my favorite.
I mean, I was going to say, as an American children, we all had Lester Piggott on our walls. I mean, that's posters.
Oh, the guy.
Yeah. My mom thought I was gay when I was a kid because it was just my whole room was full of Lester Piggott posters, and they were everyone was
Pink
like,
and white.
is this attractive to you? And I was like, no, he's my idol, like any red-blooded American boy, Lester Piggott. Wow. So he didn't like he wouldn't like do the shit though at the stable. He liked riding horses and shit, but
he didn't want to clean up after him. He didn't want to do the hard work. Yeah.
Well, that was the job he had.
Yeah.
The perk was riding horses also.
Right.
But after you worked, he just was like, I ride horses and then go home. He didn't want to work. And the lady who hired him, I saw an interview with her. She was like, yeah, he'd just not do shit. He'd be like, there's still, horse shit everywhere. And he'd be like, oh, I'm done riding, bye. And he'd be off. And you're like,
perfect.
Okay, that's not going to work. And he didn't like, it was a lot of responsibility. He didn't want all the responsibility. And then he became too heavy anyway. He got too big.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. It's weird that it's weird that a child hopes not to grow. If only I could be 5'2" like my idol, Lester Piggott. Like, you don't hear that a lot from kids.
There is the surgery to lengthen your legs. They oftentimes do not shorten them.
Yeah, I'd love to be fucking 5'2" is not a normal thing asked of a surgeon. So he tried to do that. He got fired 6 times, by the way, from the stable before he finally left. 6 times, and they kept bringing him back. His stable boss called him, quote, just a starved little rat from the slums.
Oh, my God.
Jesus. And that was like a compliment in Northern Ireland, I think, too.
That's just a general appraisal that's factual, but it feels fucking insulting.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Hurts, yeah.
Just if he said, well, he was a starved little rat from the slums, then it'd be like, oh, but means not good for anything.
Right.
Just that.
It's not good for anything else.
That just really fucking wipes away anything you're going to say after that. So he said that's where the money was, though, to be a jockey. Obviously, again, we all dream of the riches and mansions of all the jockeys that we grew up idolizing, but we can't all get there. That's the problem.
No, there's it's tough, yeah.
So he leaves for London, where he settles, he gets a flat, and he starts playing the game again. Okay,
awesome.
He wins some money, a little extra income. Here, he finds a paper mill where he basically runs a bunch of guys that work at the paper mill and take their paychecks for snooker games. He just blows through them. Yeah. So, which is, you can make a little score if you got a bunch of guys who think they're good at a game and you know you're better, and he's 16 years old. So they think he's just some little...
He works with them, so he's just beating them all day.
No, he doesn't work with them.
He doesn't work at the paper mill?
No, he just shows up and he's like, you guys like to play because he must have seen him at a bar, so who the fuck knows, but he ends up running everybody from a paper mill and taking all their money, which is pretty awesome. Here, he was a little bit, I guess, he wanted to go home, though. He's only 16, so he ends up going home. And in 1967, though, he joins the snooker league at Mount Pottinger YMCA, where I guess
they got a YMCA?
I didn't know that either. That's weird. I didn't know YMCA was a global initiative here.
International.
Well, it's got the word Christian in it, so it's got to be somewhat funded by a church. So then
everybody's money. Yeah,
you're never getting somewhere in the middle of Kenya, somewhere on a field, there's a fucking YMCA that I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. So
helping you out because we want you in our lives. Donate to us,
and also have gay sex here. That's the other thing.
If you'd like, I mean,
it's open. So he practiced as like 6 hours a day. That's how much he was into it.
Snooker?
And snooker, yeah.
Wow.
He would work on one shot all day long. Just one shot that he's working on, trying to do. So
in the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories. 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real. The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
He feels, by 1968, he feels like he's ready to compete in the Northern Ireland Snooker Championships.
Awesome.
So he defeats Maurice Gill 4-1 in the final. And that's a shame because we all know what a stud Maurice is.
It was his year.
I thought it was his year going into it. I was like, there's no way he's beating Maurice. And then obviously he did. So looking back through history, obviously I wasn't born yet, either of us, but historically we all know about it. Like I said.
First beating of Snooker Mo.
Oh, man. It was a wild one for me. So he became the first player to win the tournament in his first appearance in it. And at 18, he was the youngest winner ever as well. So he's a prodigy. He's a snooker prodigy, whereas all the other guys that when he goes into these matches and you see, they'll announce them and they say like Alex Higgins and he comes out and he has like a flair of style. Later on, he'll come out with like a big like fucking like a big like 70s blaxploitation hat on and shit. He's got like fancy hats, and he comes out with like a big jacket and a fancy hat and makes a big deal out of it. And his opponent they cut to, and it's like a 48-year-old, very stuffy British man with a bow tie, and he just goes, and like nods his head with the primmest of barely a grin on it. That's the equivalent of going, just the quickest little thing, and that's it. And Alex is whipping off his fedora and swinging it around and like lighting a smoke and down in a fucking pint, and you're like, this is wild. He's Happy Gilmore of snooker. Yeah. It's absolutely what he is. Yeah. They call him the Hurricane because everybody else shoots a shot, stands there, looks at it, walks slowly over to the next, slowly gets down, puts the thing. He's fast. He works fast. He shot, boom, other side, shot. They call him the Hurricane because he's everywhere. He moves at less than a glacial speed, which is super fast for this sport. Right. So,
but the thing about like billiards and I imagine this game as well, it's all about the very next shot. So it's where your next lie is at. That's always what you're aiming for and what you're So when you're fast at that, that's fucking impressive. To be able to leave the ball for your next shot and
it's
fucking hammer that and then go to the next one too. That's
fast.
crazy.
Yeah, no fucking around. He might stop for a drag of a smoke or a swig of his pint, but other than that, it's nothing else is stopping here. So
exhausting.
It's wild. So a week after this, he won the All-Ireland Amateur Championship and then briefly turned professional, but then came back to the amateur ranks and was appointed captain of the Mount Pottinger YMCA team. So, wow. Here's from 1968. There's a newspaper article here saying that Higgins intends to challenge Jack Ray for the Irish professional title, but then he doesn't. The following year, though, he loses his Northern Ireland amateur title, losing 0-4 to Desi Anderson, which obviously you're not going to beat Desi Anderson in 69. You're just not going to do it. I mean, come on. You know what I mean? It's like beating Tyson in 87. It's not happening.
Desi's on his way to a three-peat.
Fuck, Jesus. And then a threesome afterwards. This is a hot shit sport. So Higgins also in exhibition matches, though, because he was more into this because this is how he made some money on the side. Yep. He defeated the world champion, the professional world champion, John Spencer, in several exhibition matches.
Oh.
So he's turns professional full-time, goes back to England, and, where the money is for this. Yeah. And I don't know, the other thing, too, is I don't know how there's money in this sport because...
Sponsorships, James.
But at the time he started, like it wasn't even on TV till like 72, 73. And it was because of him.
What products are they selling because of this guy? They can't be.
Yeah. They have this film footage and it's this dark. It looks you're in a fucking bar. They have like the light that's over a pool table. That's how the room's lit. That's all you see. They have these like little bleachers kind of set up around. There can't be more than 80 people there, so ticket sales aren't the thing. It's not on television, so there's no sponsorships, there's no commercials.
There's no gambling.
Where's the money coming from here? How do these people make money? I don't know, but I don't think you have to put up money everybody puts up when you go into a tournament.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, but after a while it's on TV and then you get it. You're like, okay, it's on TV, so now they have sponsorships and there's money coming in. But before that, I just don't understand it. So he goes to England, and there is two guys here named Dennis Broderick and John McLaughlin who see him and go, holy shit, this guy's like, he's the best player we've seen, and he's got all this flair. He's a young guy. Like, he can turn snooker into a sport people will watch. Like, you'd watch this guy. So they decide to be his agents. And they fix him all up because, he's a rat from the slums, if you remember here. So
just a
rat from the slums. They end up they get him an apartment. They buy him a whole new wardrobe of
they
clothes.
See money, yeah.
So when he goes out, he doesn't look like a fucking bum. They take him to the dentist, get his teeth all fixed. They fucking get him a nice haircut.
Yeah, they see it. They see the potential.
Now you're presentable for television. There you go. And they stick him out there. So... And it really blows up, too. It works for him here. And also during this time, and this is something everybody might be, if you happen to be in Birmingham, in England, in 1970 on January 29th, you definitely want to get this weekend down to J.W. Reeves' Carpet Agent. Because it says carpets in 1970. Jimmie, there's all sorts of carpets here. Clearance of 27-inch stair-length carpets, runners, carpet squares, rugs, etc. Free fitting and measurements. You can't beat this. You can't beat this. So everyone get in there. Free fitting. You can't beat that. Yeah. So anyway, full-time Alex Higgins, professional at 22. And he said that everybody was what he called percentage players.
Okay.
I guess kind of like in boxing, guys that go for the decision win.
Yeah.
Where he more of a points guy.
Yeah, a little style.
He said that the way he did it was, quote, attack with brute force and scare them to death.
Oh.
Which I don't know how you do that in pool, honestly.
Pillage the pool table.
There's no contact between you. So it's not like you can come and like bump him out of the way and take a shot. Like there's nothing really. You can't like dust him off with a fastball under his chin. You can't knock the shit out of him.
Can you run your cue between his legs?
Like Great Outdoors when they're doing their shot, you do yours, and they see it pop up between their legs and then turn and it snaps and flies across the room. I believe that is a foul in this game. I'm not sure. You're thinking a 9-ball where that's perfectly acceptable, I think. But I think in snooker,
how
that's
do you
a foul.
do with brute? Like you stare them down and you don't even look at the balls? Like
that's what I mean. That's what's funny. It's like golf. That's why they made golf with Happy Gilmore of like this guy. Like, how do you make golf? He runs up and he smacks it. It's still golf. He's still just...
Does he get a running start at the ball?
It doesn't matter what he's doing. It's the other guy has an opportunity to do it in quiet and do whatever he wants.
Does he just stab the ball one-handed?
I guess him moving around the table quickly throws these English people into a real tizzy, and they don't know what to do. Oh, no, there's these stuffy. Oh, look at him move. Oh, goodness, oh, me. These are like real old stuffy. Oh, my. The bow tie is tighter
it's
than
too
ever
rapid.
Right now. Yeah, it's too rapid. His sister offered to pay the £100 fee so he could enter the 1971 Snooker Championship, but he said, no, thank you, not ready yet.
Okay.
So this is when he meets a woman named Joyce Fox and starts a relationship with her, by the way. And oh my goodness, this is going to get crazy pretty fast here. His personal life is off the fucking rails.
And Joyce ignites it?
No, he's always been crazy.
Okay.
But it just when you put someone else in it, now they're in a tornado, sucked up with whatever else is in there, cows and barns and pickup trucks and shit.
Great.
Trailers. So 1972, he wins the world championship in his first attempt.
First attempt. Championship of snooker. World championship.
World champion of snooker. That's
Best
me.
Snookers.
All the places they play snooker, which is here and just here, but I'm the best of everyone that plays.
All the snooks.
Here, all the stuffy Britishmen, I'm the best.
All right.
Of all of them. He's the youngest ever to win a title, which was he did really well. That record was held until 1990 when a 21-year-old won. So about 20 years he wins. What do you think the prize is for being the world champion of snooker? It's the world champion. £480.
900 bucks.
That is
$300. I don't
wild.
know.
That's what the world championship is.
90
worth.
pounds. Not even 500 pounds.
Back then. No, not even 480. 480. So here is from the Birmingham Evening Mail from 1972, and the title is Fabulous. And it says, his quick play earns him that Hurricane nickname. In a game against Graham Miles at West Bromwich 2 years ago, he made 134 break in 4 minutes. Wow, I mean, that sounds wild. And the fact that this says fast, the fact that he has reached the world final at the age of 22 is unique in itself. Snooker players normally hit their peaks in their late 30s. Again, shows you what kind of sport it is when people are
the least athletic of their life.
He just turned 40. Watch out. He's really going to be a threat now. From now on, you got to watch him.
Prime now.
From now until senior citizenship, it's really going to be to watch out for him.
Until arthritis sets in, he's in his prime.
One of the other players said, quote, he doesn't play a frame of snooker. He attacks it.
Yeah.
He attacks
What the fuck does that mean?
I don't know. So he said that the former Irish champion who lost his title to Higgins said that this is the best snooker player to come into snooker since Joe Davis.
Oh.
What, not him too? And Leslie Piggott or whatever the fucking jockey's name was? All of my heroes they're bringing up. He's better than all of them?
Old Wilson Pickett.
Old Wilson Pickett. He said, quote, he's a fabulous player when he's going well. When he's playing round the black, his cue action is very good. Well, that just sounds like he's beating up black people with a pool cue. When he's playing around the black, his cue action is very good. With the long ones, he throws everything into it. He moves his head, his elbows jut. He does everything wrong, and yet he knocks the lot in.
Okay.
That's the thing. Snooker, pool in general, you're supposed to stay very quiet, no movement, boom.
Right, yeah.
He's the opposite. He does it like if you gave a 6-year-old a pool cue and was like, play pool, and they're like, pow, and their head's up. That's how he plays, but he hits the ball perfectly. It's fucking insane.
Where it's supposed to go.
It's wild, yeah.
Slap that ball right off the table and break your tile.
No shit.
Yeah.
So let's find out. He must be living the high life, right?
Gotta be.
Totally. No, actually, he says during this triumph of the world, he didn't have a home at this point, he said.
He's a homeless rat.
We don't know if it's by choice or by he doesn't have a home, but he said he recently, at this point, lived in a row of abandoned houses in Blackburn.
Oh, my.
Which were all awaiting demolition. So he said in 1 week he lived in 5 different houses on the same street, and he just moved down one every time they would destroy his house that he was in that day. Destroyed, it was gone, so he'd come back, move in the house next door, and next day he'd have to leave because that one was up for...
Well, I guess I live next door now.
That is fucking wild. Here's a newspaper article. Hurricane lives up to his name. It says a hurricane called Higgins swept through Leicester last night, leaving behind in his wake a string of beaten snooker players and many new admirers.
Yeah.
What is he doing? It's pool.
Crushing souls, James.
But even with like the magic of Hollywood filmmaking, you know, with Bob Seger music playing in the background and pump up music and Tom Cruise with his big fucking Scientology smile and Paul Newman. It's still not an exciting sport. Pool. Even when you put all that into it. You know what I'm saying? And a hot chick he wants to bang and everything else. This is even less. All these people have, they're all old 45-year-old fucking, English people with a bow tie on.
If you lose at pool, you have to go, well, at least I'm not as big of a loser as that guy. That just beat me. That guy spends more time in a bar than me. What a piece of shit.
The guy who brought his own stick here to the bar. Not a pool tournament, the bar.
Well, at least I'm not you, eh?
Yeah.
Take this 20 and fuck off.
Fuck your mother. Here you go. Here you go.
Fucking
Stick it up your
loser.
mother's twat, eh? All right. So this article here, Hurricane lives up to his name. Yeah. I'll read this because it's pretty interesting, actually. A hurricane called Higgins swept through Leicester last night, leaving behind in his wake a string of beaten snooker players and many new admirers. Higgins, who at 23 years old is the youngest world professional snooker champion ever, stunned the large crowd at Leicester's YMCA with his magnificent exhibition of skills.
Stunned them.
Stunned them. It's pool. How... He said the highlight of the evening was a superb break of 128 in which he potted every ball on the table except for the first red. That sounds good, I guess.
He
just ran the table.
Just ran the table, yeah. But every ball... Okay, so it's just one round, though? You can score 128 points in one round?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably like bowling. I'm sure it's one pin and it counts
starts multiplying.
frames and it multiplies. And if you get 3 strikes in a row, then it's more. Yeah. And you know how it works. The turkeys come out and it's totally different. He says Higgins broke, splitting the pack wide open, but conceded 4 points to his opponent, George Selko, a local amateur, when the cue ball went down. Selko then sank 1 red, but that was his only contribution to the frame. Higgins went on to pick off the remaining 14 reds in each color with almost disdainful disregard for his opponent's pride.
He was angry about his pride.
He was like, staring at him while he was shooting. Pow, like that, bitch, I'm going to do it again. Higgins is not just simply a brilliant snooker player. He is an entertainer, and a good one at that. He kept up a constant stream of chatter and wisecracks that helped break down the tension after he had lost to the 2 opening frames. Do you give lessons, inquired the world champion after an opponent had played a particularly fine shot. And it was his sardonic Irish wit that was never better illustrated than when leading one opponent 98-0 with only the colors remaining, he turned and asked, "Are you a strong finisher?" He's a shit talker, which in England in 1972... Absolutely, they were like, pardon? They didn't. That did not exist in this game.
A proper gamesmanship here.
Yes, this is a bunch of stuffy guys in bow ties.
It's a gentleman's sport.
Yeah, absolutely. He said Higgins was brought up in Northern Ireland and took up snooker at the age of 12. 10, more or less. At 15, he gave it up, blah, blah, blah. He returned to Belfast. Here we go. Quote, "I hadn't played the game for 2 years, but I improved phenomenally, getting better and better. It was a bit of a fairy story, really." I don't think he thinks that means what he thinks it means.
Fairy tale, you mean?
I think that's what he's going for. And the author of this paragraph helps him out. Quote, "The tale doesn't end there." Just to let you know, that's what he's talking about.
Not a story.
Just, yeah. A fairy tale, a fairy story is a very different thing. That's a different section of the 80s video store. So he said,
the Dewey Decimal System gets sticky over there.
Yeah, a little bit. He said, but the tale doesn't end there. Last February, he beat John Spencer. Here it is. Higgins has no doubts about his ability. Quote, "I don't play trick shots. They're excuses for bad players, and I'm not a bad player." So he said, "I want to win the title again next year to show it wasn't a fluke." Son of a bitches. How dare they think he's a fluke?
He wants to repeat.
He wants to have a repeat. They said, why do you do? Because they're talking about all of his travel and all this type of stuff. He just was on a 12-hour train trip and all this. Right. And he says, quote, "For the love of the game and the money." All that big money that comes.
The prize money.
All that 480 pounds. He said, "You have any regrets?" And he said, "Yes, I would rather have been a champion jockey than a champion snooker player because there's more bread in it." Yeah. So, more dough. There we go.
I wish I had stayed in school or something that made money.
Well, no, he wanted to be a jockey.
But then there's this. Yeah.
Yeah. So, they talk all about him in this thing, and I guess Hurricane they keep talking about. Yeah. Quote, He scampered round the table, potting balls in rapid succession with a minimum of fuss. Oh, a minimum of fuss. That sounds awesome. With his speed and power, it was clear that his nickname was indeed appropriate. In one memorable break, he scored 71 points in just 135 seconds. Yet, with odd exceptions, his power was always controlled, and he revealed remarkable skills in all departments of his play. His control of the cue ball was astonishing. Astonishing. Yeah. After he beat one guy, he said, quote, "Go to bed." That's awesome.
Holy shit.
Here's a quote from a guy named John Rawling here, another player. Higgins would sniff, twitch, and fidget at the table. By the way, he's always at his nose like a cokehead. He's always wiping his nose like a coke. Like. Yeah. He is a cokehead, but later. But even when in like 1971, when he was poor and I don't think there was a lot of coke around, he's still always at the nose. And fidget at the table while careening around it with a near manic zeal, speed, and almost comic Chaplin-esque gait. Oh, Chaplin-esque. Yeah. Yet, when he set himself to pot balls and build a break, no other player can have shown a greater natural aptitude, nor can any have taken more delight in the moment of victory. Like George Best, who's a soccer player, a contemporary Belfast wild boy, Higgins may never have understood how he achieved his brilliance, but his presence at the snooker table was often nothing short of mesmerizing. Oh, my goodness, Jesus Christ. Apparently, the Irish Professional Championship, the guy he beat had held the title since 1952.
Jesus.
Yeah, 1952. So that summer, they made a half-hour documentary for Thames TV called Hurricane Higgins. Okay. And during an exhibition match in Bombay, he showed up shit-faced.
Before playing.
Hammered. He's in India. It was super hot. He's hammered. He got so fucking hot, sweaty, that he took his shirt off and played. Which you can't even take your waistcoat off, never mind your shirt. He just played shirtless like he was at the beach or some shit, and he was fined $200 for that.
Has a goddamn coat and a bow tie on.
Yeah, took it off. And that's the other thing he'll get into is he always, later on, he won't wear the bow tie. He'll just rip it off in the beginning. It makes a big show of it, and the crowd cheers, and then they fine him for it, you know. So, and then later on, it became in snooker where you weren't allowed to wear a white shirt with a black bow tie because you get fined for that because they got off of that shit later on. It was funny. So, weird thing. So, 1973, he made his debut appearance on Pot Black, which is a BBC show. But he lost the first game and got pissed off and stormed off the set. He was convinced to return and finish his other games, but friction between him and another player made him that he didn't end up coming back on the show for 5 years because he pissed the host off. So,
5 years.
5 years. So this is from May 15th, 2021, a mirror.uk article here. So just it's a retrospective. It's not from the time. It's from recently about the time. So it said snooker wild man Alex Higgins had 3 prostitutes sent to his dressing room while filming at BBC studios, it is claimed. The Hurricane was filming for Pot Black at Pebble Mill. That's why he's not invited back, not because the host didn't like him. In Birmingham.
Hookers to the green room?
Yep, when the call girls turned up as his guests. The show's director, Jim Dummigan, in his new told a new documentary, quote, one of the recording nights, 3 young ladies showed up at reception and said they were Alex's guests. Let's say they represented a well-known Birmingham escort agency, or at least that's what they told me. You don't expect to be confronted with situations like that. It was a little tricky.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So he pissed those people off doing that. He missed a shot and he cursed on TV. The other thing, he cursed. He's got prostitutes. He's running off the set. So, he's kind of a loose cannon here. So he's great. That's the thing. And a lot of the players hated him, but there's this one player they talked to on this documentary, the BBC documentary, and he was like an established guy at the time. Like I think he was the 71 world champ or something, or 70. And he said he showed up doing all this and cursing and drinking. He goes, I loved it. I thought it was bloody brilliant. He said, I thought it was so much fun. It was great.
It's hilarious.
It was like, this is great. This guy's fun. Like, he just went along. He was laughing while he was talking about him. He's like, then he did this crazy shit. Can you believe it?
It's fascinating and because it's so long ago, the swearing on TV whilst playing a gentleman's sport is certainly frowned upon. Today, fuck, man. You can't zoom in on a head coach during a play.
Jesus Christ.
They're swearing their fucking balls off.
This
and you
fucking pussy goddamn quarterback piece of shit motherfucker.
Can read their lips.
Fucking children's dick off when he gets home. This motherfucker, how dare this motherfucker fuck my fucking plays up. I called this cunt shit fucking piece of shit motherfucker.
Can't even, they don't have to turn up the volume. They don't have to mic them. I know what they're saying. I see and you hear every goddamn word.
Yeah, you hear it all.
I love seeing motherfucker come out of their mouths, just reading their lips.
It's constant. Fuck.
Yeah.
Drop a ball. So the director of the show said, quote, "It's been suggested he was red carded and we didn't have him back. I don't recall that at all. People close to him made it clear that he wasn't going to play, which is a great shame because he had a lot of talent." And this guy also said, quote, I don't think pot black was his forte. The certain things we asked of the players, like where to stand and so on and so forth, for camera angles and stuff, so you could see a guy. Makes sense.
And he wanted nothing to do with it?
No, he was like, I'm fucking going to go drink my beer over here, eat shit. Like, he just wasn't doing that. Yeah. So this is a guy named Cliff Thorburn tells this story. This is the 1980 world champion, Cliff Thorburn. And he said that he never liked Alex Higgins since they met each other in the early 70s. Didn't like him. He said, quote, our first big off-table clash came in 1973 when I got involved in a card game with him and a few others. Higgins borrowed apparently 50 pounds from this guy to gamble and handed over his wedding ring in return as collateral. Yeah. Here's my wedding ring. Let me borrow 50 pounds. Later that night, Higgins and his first wife came looking for the ring. Yeah. Okay. This is from Thorburn again. Quote, Alex pretended to fall down in a faint. I attempted to pick him up, then turned my back on him, and he went for me with a bottle.
What?
I grabbed him, threw the bottle down, got him round the neck, and just pounded his head until my fist was sore. Jesus Christ. Oh, so he fucking tried to fool him. Oh, I fainted. Oh, let me help you up. And then he starts trying to hit him with a bottle.
To get his ring back?
To get his ring back, yeah. Because his wife is probably like, you fucking put your ring up, you idiot. Go get it back. And he's like, I'll beat this guy with a bottle because I got to go home with her.
He stole my ring, baby. You won't believe it.
Another time, after Alex beats Thorburn in a match, Alex called him, quote, a Canadian cunt and walked off.
So they got a rivalry. I like that.
That's fun as shit. April 18th, 1973. This is fucking hilarious, this whole thing. Higgins here, this is from The Guardian. Alex Higgins, the reigning world snooker champion, attired like a Pied Piper, played snooker to match his dress in the second round of the World Professional Championship yesterday. He moved and potted so quickly that his green and red shoes, white flared trousers, green waistcoat with matching bow tie, seemed to blend with the balls. Higgins arrived 20 minutes late for the evening session and was given a hostile reception. They had to wait for him.
Showed up late dressed like an asshole.
He showed up, he's like Michael Jackson showing up for court. Like, you can't do that. You can't show up late dressed like Captain Crunch, as Chris Rock said, and expect the court to take you seriously.
And moonwalk on the roof of a limousine.
Oh, my God. The organizers gave him a reprimand and a warning that a further occurrence was likely to bring his disqualification. The crowd was soon warmed to the Belfast player when his first frame, after the delay, made a break of 78 against Pat Houlihan of London. A magnet seemed to be operating under the table for the Irishman's benefit. After each pot, the cue ball rolled into place for another strike. Higgins kept pouncing and potting, leaving Houlihan as an interested spectator, and the crowd bewildered at such artistry. Wow, not bad. Jesus Christ, that's wild. So he would be fined for turning up and also fined for wearing white trousers, which was against the rules as well. So obviously you can't wear white trousers while you play the game, Jimmy.
I'm surprised they're not investigating him after an author accused him of cheating. He's so good, it looked like he was cheating.
Looked like there was a magnet under the table.
Anybody looking for magnets?
For his benefit only.
Maybe you could look for magnets.
So I'm going to say grace right now, right? This is, He's Happy Gilmore with the big giant checks in his car driving around. It's all working in his favor. You know what I mean? It's all going well. That said, I want to show you these trick shots here that he's making because you are going to shit your pants when you see these because we've played pool. And imagine if you pulled this off at any time in your life.
I'm pretty good at pool.
Feel.
I love pool. Yeah. I'm real good at it.
I am too.
Let's see. Okay, he's got a nice haircut.
There we go.
Looks good.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer. I can really show you how to make some money. And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
Let's see here.
Okay.
Where am I? I'm going to turn the volume on it. Okay, there we go. Okay, here we go, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Let's show you what we got.
Alex Hurricane Higgins.
Hurricane Higgins.
This was a new world of snooker.
This isn't a trick shot, but
the Hurricane.
Here it comes. Watch. He's doing this cool shit. That's all normal, but now he starts with all this weird shit.
Okay, now he's got angles and
Watch this though. Not that.
Yeah.
Although he has set himself up nicely. Look at that.
Olay. Makes it dance around one.
This is cool,
he does
too.
it on purpose.
Look at this.
Oh, brings it all the way back.
All the way back, so they almost hit each other. That's one of his specialties there. What the hell was that?
How did
What's
that do
that?
that?
What?
What?
Yeah, we're going to rewind that. Hold on.
He hit the ball. Hold on.
He hit the fucking ball.
Off the goddamn table.
Then it went, the one that he did, I don't know how he made it stop and go backwards.
Moves. Yeah.
But then the one hopped up on here, on the side. Not this. Okay, it's coming.
Yeah,
on the side. I don't even know what to say about this.
This
one. How did that happen? This, look, it went up on the side. He got it to crawl and go in the, what the fuck is that?
Wow. Unbelievable.
And there he is, always smoking and drinking. And so that, we should explain it to the people at home.
Those are legal moves?
No, those were trick shots he was doing there.
Right.
The one was in a game. The one where, like,
the red ball? Yeah.
He hit it in the red ball I don't know what it did.
He put so much English on it, it bounced. The English made it bounce back. Yeah,
that was.
And then it was
Wow.
still spinning, so it curled another direction.
That was crazy. But
the ball moved like 7 different ways alone.
Alone.
By itself.
But there's another one where the black ball there is kind of down toward the corner,
Yeah.
and he hits it, and somehow the cue ball makes the black ball jump off the table onto the side.
Right.
Where
On the rail.
where
Yeah.
the chalk is.
Right.
And it fucking rode the fucking entire thing and went in the pocket that way. I've
Doesn't make
never
any sense.
seen that done before. That's insane. That's
You can't do that.
How the hell do you do that? That's what I mean. You have to be like a geometric genius to do this, right?
And the way the pool table is set up, it
How do
kind
you
of
make-
slopes to the outside.
Yeah.
He
The
got it
spin
to
you have to have
He
on
got
it.
it to ride the fucking rail all the way to the cup. That's
with that
bananas.
spin. That's crazy. So, okay, he goes on to lose the 1973 finals of the World Championships to Eddie Charlton in these. So he loses that. He also lost his cue, apparently. Here, he's going to use a new cue. It's his 13th since he won the world title a couple years ago.
Oh,
and he said, "Yeah, it's really hard." He said that I guess there was I guess something happened to his other stick. He said, "Perhaps it will be lucky 13 for me." He said that's what he told the press guy here.
Yeah.
He said, "Since I lost that cue, nothing has gone right. It's a tragedy. I dream every night about finding another one like it. I'd give £1,000 if I could."
Where'd he leave it?
The right cue, who the hell knows? He said, "You've no idea how terrible it is knowing you are the best, yet not being able to prove it, because you don't have the right cue." He says, "Yes," this is not a quote, but this is a quote from the article. "Yes, Higgins, lean and nervous, almost running around the table in his eagerness to get on with the game, really believes he is the best in the world, and it doesn't sound like a boast. Quote, 'You should have seen me when I won the title against Spencer,' he said. He got a 60 break, and there were 61 left. I cleared the lot. One fellow was so impressed he wrote a poem about me. It was beautiful."
So there was 60 on that break, and he beat him by 1 with 61.
By 1, yeah.
Wow.
He says, "Now the cue's gone. I'm not sure."
Yeah.
He said, I like to play. I like to please people and make big breaks. And let's face it, I'm the number one draw with my charisma and personality.
Yeah,
so it's good of him to notice
it.
Yeah, I just need the right cue. But until I get the right cue, I'm having to fight with myself inside. You've no idea what it's like. This is a mental thing you got, brother. That's wow. So they talk about him being, quote, "But there is no doubt he has been good for the game, dispelling its ultra-dignified, stuffy image with his trendy clothes, big cigars, and glamour boy image. Last night, for instance, he drew a capacity crowd to the Ashton Court and caused a gasp of excited surprise when he appeared in billiard cloth green trousers and shirt and a red bow tie and huge platform shoes.
Pants made of the felt from the table.
Yeah, billiard cloth. I don't know if they were made of that, but that color.
Yeah.
And a shirt of the same color and a red bow tie. This guy is crazy, Jimmy. He's crazy. He's out of control. Out of control. He's been banned from Pot Black, they said, because he refused to play at 11 p.m.
Or
they didn't mention the prostitute. Yeah. He said, quote, "I hate watching snooker, and I didn't think it was right that every time I was on, I had to hang out for hours to play." Well, that's TV. Everything takes 10 times as long as it should. But the decision not to play me was diabolical. When I talked to Joe Davis, this is the article again, talking to Joe Davis, the greatest snooker man of them all, a few weeks ago, he predicted that Higgins would burn himself out quickly unless he changed his ways and practiced more. He said he's right. He was right in one way, wrong in another, said Alex. "I agree I need to practice, but I don't get time. I've done 16,500 miles in 2.25 months from one end of the country to the other. I used to practice 11 hours a day. Now I need 2 hours. I try to play more frames each night to make up, but I won't disappear from the scene. I want my title back too badly. One day my dream will come true, and I'll get the right cue again. Then just watch me."
Goddamn
This
stick.
is
I need it.
fucking wild. So I guess he started to add more tactical shit to his game, less out of control by 74. Eurosport.com here. This is fucking fun here. Here's a guy named Barry Hearn, who's the chairman of World Snooker since 2010.
Jesus.
Okay. He said there's a memorable scene from the 1981 World Championships after this Davis guy, another guy, Steve Davis, beat Doug Mountjoy for the first of his 6 world titles. He said Hearn bounds down to almost ragdoll Davis with as much glee as a punter with a few bob on. Okay, he hugged him for the non-English people. The guy won, and he picked him up and hugged him and got real excited about winning. So that's how it went.
And that's how they describe it?
It's very difficult. It must be said, Hearn, whose Matchroom Sport business promotes 11 sports, including snooker and darts, with a turnover of 70 million pounds, is a fabulous raconteur in recalling the days of his life. He said, quote, Steve's idea of a risque night was whether to drink 2 glasses of milk before bed, where Alex would want to drink the place dry and have a fight with someone.
Oh.
That's Alex's thing, that's the night's not complete till I have a black eye and I don't remember anything. He said, quote,
somebody never forgets me.
Yeah. Oh, no, never. Most of my job early doors was making sure Alex never got anywhere near Steve because Alex was very unpredictable. Steve was very uncomfortable around him. I had to have a word with the organizers when we were up in Scotland to tell them Alex wasn't allowed within 6 feet of Davis. Just scared him. In Romford, we had a room which we opened up in about 1974-5, which we called the match room. The match room was outside the main billiards hall. We put in a Riley Oak Imperial table, the best in my opinion, obviously, Jesus Christ, what are we talking about? And benches to seat about 300 people. There were no windows or fire exits. Oh, this sounds very safe. I'm sure everyone's smoking. This is very good. There was one tiny door to get in and one tiny door to get out. If it would fail every type of planning application these days, there was no air conditioning, so everybody smoked, and you could hardly see across the room. It was like a Bangkok kickboxing venue. Bloodsport, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say cockfighting.
Kumite. It's modern-day cockfighting, yeah. It was mayhem, but the people were daft about snooker.
Okay.
Loved it.
They loved it.
I used that room to encourage Steve by bringing down all the greats of all time. World champions Ray Reardon, John Spencer, Cliff Thorburn, and of course Alex Higgins, the biggest draw of the lot. Davis became almost unbeatable in the match room. He says, I used to gamble a lot when I was younger. Me and Davis came from council houses and didn't have any money. I used to pay Davis £25 a night for these challenges, but said I would give him a bonus if I won money from betting on him, and Davis always won. They'd have no respect for the opponent. They'd be shouting, miss and jeering. I don't know what that means, but that was the working class environment. Alex would walk in, and the first question he'd ask would be, what odds am I tonight? It started by Alex giving Davis 14 points of a start because he had never heard of Steve Davis. He gave him a handicap.
Mm-hmm.
He said, fucking, let's play to 11. I'll spot you 5, bitch. That's what he said.
I don't know. Yeah, I'll beat you.
Yeah. After 2 or 3 games of Alex losing his money, it became an even match, and eventually you could get decent odds on Alex. The highlight of all those matches was the last one played over 4 days and nights, best of 65 frames. Until I have no idea what they're talking about. Until this day, those lucky enough to be there will tell you they have never seen snooker like it. Oh, I've never seen snooker like I did back in that day.
64 fucking times these guys had to play.
Jesus Christ almighty. They talk about some money they won. They said most of the time I would have to spot him $50 for his bus fare home, but you were okay with it because of the entertainment he brought to the crowd. Alex would lose all his money always, even though he'd win a lot. It said at the penultimate session in the race to 33, Davis was up 31-20. The crowd had been giving him stick, and Alex was on a short fuse. He turned and said, you bunch of wankers, that's the fucking last time you see of me. Or it's the last you see of me. And if you bought a ticket for tonight, tough shit. And he stormed out.
A bunch of wankers.
A bunch of wankers. This is to the crowd, he said this. He said, we went downstairs where Alex was having a drink. It ended up with me and him having a row, and I had him up against a wall. He's always fighting everybody. Yeah. It was chaos because Alex would have a fight with anyone. I thought, we'll never see him again. 2 hours later, he turned up bang on time. Hi, Barry, everything okay? He was Jekyll and Hyde.
We just fought, sir.
I'm going to steamroller. He said, quote, I'm going to steamroller this ginger cunt. That's amazing. He couldn't resist the chance to entertain a crowd. Taking away his ability to entertain the crowd was the worst thing you could have done to him. He would go for flash shots because he was a crowd pleaser. If Alex was on a train, you saw him walking down the aisle, you'd hide behind your newspaper because of the thought of sitting next to a madman for 3 or 4 hours.
Right.
If you were out there watching snooker, you'd bite your arm off to watch him because he did he did things nobody else could do. Davis respected him for that, but realized in longer matches he was very beatable. So as it went on, he would start to falter because he's drunk too.
Right. As you pollute yourself, you don't see as well.
No. 1975, Alex and his girlfriend Joyce Fox have a son named Chris, and they separate a few months later after that.
Perfect.
It's exactly how you want to do that.
Oftentimes babies ruin relationships. I get it.
Tough. Like, this isn't as fun anymore. What's going on? This is weird. So it's always what is that crying all the time? I'm always hearing it. April of 1975, he marries a woman, though. He marries Australian-born Cara Hassler, who is the daughter of a racehorse trainer. Look at that.
Oh,
so
that makes sense. Yeah.
They end up having a daughter named Crystal as well. He reaches the finals again in 76, facing Ray Reardon. He led 10-9, but he ended up losing the whole thing here. Okay. So Higgins was also the runner-up to Cliff Thorburn in 80, after losing again. He started out ahead and then lost. Here's one, 1978. This is from a newspaper article. Quote, I'll say one thing that's extraordinary for fisticuffs. I'll say one thing for that extraordinary fisticuffs that developed between snooker stars Graham Miles and Alex Hurricane Higgins. Considering Alex Higgins was yelling baldy and get a hair transplant, it did show what girlish little bitches men can be when they're roused, doesn't it? That's from a newspaper in 1978. Bitches. Girlish little bitches men can be when they're roused, doesn't it? He was calling the guy, go ahead and shoot, Baldy. Why don't you get a hair transplant against his opponent? Until they fought.
There's a bunch of bald jokes.
This is... Once again, stuffy old British men. What now? It's bold. It's hereditary, I believe.
He called him shiny.
He called him shiny on top. Called him shiny top. 1978, he wins the Benson and Hedges Masters.
Of course, they sponsor.
They just give you a year's supply of very long, thin cigarettes. That's what you get.
Very long, thin, expensive cigarettes.
You give them to your aunt, who's very excited about it. Just, thank you so much, sweetheart. Oh, my
Congratulations on your win.
They keep going up and up in price, these things. I appreciate it. This will last me at least a month and a half. So 1979, he divorces Cara, or she divorces him. Somebody divorces somebody, but they're fucking divorced, so that's how that goes. June of 79, he is arrested on an assault charge. Here we go. Former snooker world champion Alex Hurricane Higgins appeared before Plymouth magistrates today accused of assaulting a woman at a hotel in the city.
Oh, God.
He was facing committal proceedings on a charge of assaulting a 26-year-old Wendy Dring, causing actual bodily harm. Okay, that's one article.
Yeah.
Here's another article here about the same incident, said differently. That the 30-year-old snooker ace picked up blonde Wendy Dring in a nightclub. Quote, he took her back to his hotel room and said the girl, described as a Spitfire, went wild because he kept her waiting for her 30-pound fee.
Oh.
She claimed he beat her up because he was angry at losing 800 pounds gambling.
Okay.
So he didn't want to pay her because he lost a bunch of money gambling and probably didn't have 30 pounds anymore.
Way more than what I owe you.
When he agreed to pay her 30 pounds, he had 800 pounds, and then he lost it all and was like, oh.
You don't understand. I would have 770 left over. I don't have it.
I have nothing here. So September 79, this is stuff from a trial here. Higgins and blonde in hotel fight is the headline. Fists flew, a dinner tray crashed to the floor, and a knife and whiskey bottle were brandished. As Alex Hurricane Higgins, former world snooker champion, battled in his hotel room with a blonde described as a, quote, little Spitfire, a jury was told yesterday.
Feels like a hot damn.
This is awesome. Mrs. Wendy Dring, 21, claimed that Higgins, bitterly upset after gambling at a casino, suddenly went haywire and punched and kicked and slapped her during an attack that lasted for 20 minutes.
Oh, my God.
That's a sustained attack. She accused him of pulling her hair so hard that chunks were still falling out days afterwards.
Oh, wow.
Finally, she said, he dragged her by the hair and dress and threw her into the hotel corridor. Dumped her in the hallway. Mr. Henry Graham, defending at Plymouth Crown Court, said Mrs. Dring was a prostitute and a, quote, little spitfire who had fought like a tigress and later grotesquely exaggerated the injuries she received in the struggle.
Okay.
So he's saying she got mad about the 30 pounds and started attacking him. Who knows if he shoved her around.
She could take a punch is what I'm saying, Your Honor.
Come on.
She's not weak.
She's not a little fucking daisy, just a little wilting
her
daisy.
First day slobbering for cash, so she's fine.
Higgins said he denied the charge of assaulting her, causing her actual bodily harm. He said he acted purely in self-defense.
Oh, because she's a badass.
He said that he picked her up in a, quote, not very reputable nightclub.
Uh-huh.
That's good.
Yeah.
She was sitting alone in a black Lorex dress. I don't know what Lorex is, but it sounds like something prostitutes would wear while they're out.
It's the guy that cares for the trees.
Lorex sounds like a condom brand, so I assume it's made of like black rubber is what I pictured.
It's shiny. I guarantee it. Yeah.
He said they agreed on a 30-pound fee, quote, her short time price.
Oh.
You know, if you want to
make it
stretch
quick.
out a bit.
Yeah.
And went on to a casino before taking a taxi back to his hotel. There he made several telephone calls for up to 2 hours in an attempt to delay a payment of a 650-pound check he cashed at the casino because he thought he'd been cheated at a card game at a casino. Yeah. Higgins then told Mrs. Dring he wanted to sleep, told her to take her money and go. This appeared to insult her, he said. He said, just take your money and get out. After the incidents, he told a police officer, I don't want to be akin to a knight in shining armor or anything, but this, by the same token, threatened with a bottle and a knife, chivalry takes second place regardless of a man or a woman to staying alive.
She had both.
He said, she attacked me. I had to take it away from her, They said that Mr. Anthony Don, prosecutor, said Mrs. Dring had been subjected to a vicious attack, and there was no evidence to suggest she was a call girl. She might well have agreed to accompany Higgins back to his hotel because he was famous, he said. She's a star fucker, not a prostitute. There's a difference.
She accepted $30 or 30 pounds.
She wanted it, apparently. That's what he says, though. That's not what she says. When this was put to Higgins, he replied, I'm not Georgie Best. I'm just a snooker player. In other words, like, she wouldn't fuck me because I was famous. I have to pay for it, is what he said. I don't have groupies. I have to pay for it. That's exactly what he said.
Yep.
So he's ended up in September 79. He's cleared in this beating here. Everything's all fine here. He's all good. No problem.
They don't care.
Yeah, he's okay. Cleared.
No time served.
Nope, this is from the Daily Mirror from 79. Quote, the hell-raising life of Hurricane Higgins has been snookered by love. And last night, the girl who has tamed the wild man of the Green Bays said he won't break out again. This is because he's had a girlfriend while this is going on. Yeah. Higgins was yesterday cleared by a jury of beating up a woman in his hotel room after hiring her for sex. After the trial, his blonde fiancée, Lynn Robbins, who has lived with the fiery Irishman for 3 years, gave him a kiss and said, I forgive him. She told how life with Higgins has become hushed as a billiards ball. Basically, he's a quiet, homely person who likes to stay at home watching TV, she said. Oh, that's nice. I have no problems with him when he's away playing snooker. This was the first incident that's ever happened. I was mad with him when he told me, but it's all forgotten now.
It's all done. Yeah.
As long as you're normally fine, you can beat up a prostitute once in a while in your room. And I mean, this is the first incident, Jimmy.
Well,
Has anything like this happened in your relationship yet?
Not yet.
Then you have a freebie going.
Yeah.
So you have a freebie. She'll forgive you. It's fine. Keep that in your back pocket.
Can you imagine? She's not upset because he didn't sleep with her is the thing. He beat her up.
He beat her up after he said he would pay to sleep with her and decided he didn't want to. Wow. So the jury was found. He was found not guilty by a jury of assault here. He, quote, Higgins last night sipped champagne, hugged his bride-to-be, and said, "I've learned my lesson. I have left my hell-raising days behind me." No, he hasn't. "It's a pity this all happened because I've been a good boy and quiet over the last 4 years. Now I enjoy staying home with Lynn. If we go out, it's to have a Chinese meal and a quiet drink. We never go to a disco or club." Says Higgins, who intends to marry Lynn next year, added, "Really, snooker is all about living out of suitcases. It is a big strain." He told the court that after 10 days on the road giving exhibitions, he had missed Lynn and needed female company. "I only got her because I missed you so much." That's what it is.
10 days of dry dick isn't. That's 9 days too long.
I missed being inside. I mean, I missed you. I missed you.
10 days, sure. 11, no, sir.
Can't hack it. Can't hack it. I will fight for some pussy at that point. Oh, man. He said, "My game has suffered because of this trial. The charge has been hanging over me for 7 months. Wow. So the girl, it says, last night the girl in the case was also trying desperately to forget Higgins. Miss Dring, a 21-year-old mother of 2, said, quote, "I'll have to move house because of this. I'm not a prostitute. The whole trial was a farce, and I've had my name dragged through the mud."
Oh.
She just says, "I'm just a single mother out there having some fun." Higgins' lawyer, Henry Graham, had accused the girl of grotesquely exaggerating her story, and in summing up, recorder Lionel Jervis said, "This case does involve you making some decision about the character of this young lady. Was she just prepared to go spend the night with Mr. Higgins for fun, or was she, in fact, a professional lady who was going to do it for money?" Okay.
Yeah.
December 1979, Wendy gets stabbed.
What?
Wendy Dring. It's the Spitfire stabbed is the headline.
What?
She's just known as the Spitfire. How many guys are into her now? Like, ooh, Spitfire. That sounds kind of good. And she's tough, too. And it says...
She's known as a spitter, though. That's not a good prostitute.
No, Spitfire stabbed girl in the Hurricane Higgins court case, in parentheses under it, in case you don't know. Wendy Dring, the Spitfire in the Hurricane Higgins hotel fight trial, has been seriously injured in a stabbing incident. The 22-year-old, she had a birthday. That's nice.
She's
mother
so
of 2.
young.
She said 21 before. Mother of 2 was found lying in a pool of blood in a house near her own flat at Davenport, Plymouth. She was rushed to a nearby hospital for emergency operation, then taken to intensive care. Her condition was described as very serious. Jesus Christ. She claimed she had been she claimed, obviously she had been attacked by Higgins before, not this time. So this is fucking... Afterwards, by the way, after the trial, her quote was, "I am no angel, but I'm certainly not a prostitute."
Okay.
So, yeah, then she gets stabbed. So she's having a
tough life.
She's having a tough time here.
It's definitely a bad year.
Then here's he says, "Why I Get the Kisses." This is by Prince Charles here. Okay. This is, by the way, in response to, they're talking about how Alex Higgins smokes 4 packs of cigarettes a day.
What?
He smokes 80 cigarettes a day, they say, which is 4 packs of now American cigarettes.
You're never not smoking. That's 2 at once sometimes, right?
One in your ear. Like, how do you smoke 80 cigarettes in a day? The time it just takes to do that. He's a chain smoker, total chain smoker. You'll never see a footage of him where he doesn't have a cigarette in his hand, ever, or a drink most of the time too. Yeah. It says, quote, "Girls who kiss Prince Charles enjoy it more because he is a non-smoker," he explained today. Prince Charles, all the girls want to kiss him. Right. He revealed that he had been kissed by 3 girls during his 2-day visit to Nottingham. "One of them kissed me particularly aggressively, which gave me enormous pleasure," he said. Oh. Jesus. But he added, it's just as well, I suspect, that I don't smoke. Otherwise, her reaction might have been different. So that's in response to that. Yeah. January 1980, he marries Lynn Robbins. He probably should marry a girl who forgives him for that.
Do whatever she wants.
They met at a Manchester wine bar. Okay. She said she found him, as this is how most women describe the love of their life when they first meet him, quote, "cocky and weird."
Repulsive.
Repulsive. I don't know. Short, strange, odd. He asked if he could buy her a drink, to which she replied, "No, I can buy my own." Smitten, he later tracked her down to her office in the airport. Well, that's stalking.
That's stalking. Yeah, that's not good at all.
Lynn said it was Alex's perseverance. He asked her out 3 times before she accepted. This is the thing, though.
Wow.
This is why it's hard.
Yeah.
Okay? This is why it's hard, because you can ask a girl out and she will say no, and then you say, okay, fine, and walk away, and that's fine, and everybody's happy because she might actually be repulsed by you. But she might just like you, and this is the thing. Some women back in the day, I don't know if they do it now.
Try harder.
They play hard to get because they want to see if you actually how hard you're going to try for them, or if you're just taking a stab in the dark at like, oh, maybe I can fuck this lady tonight. You know what I mean? So then you find a guy who'll ask her out 3 times, which can result in marriage like this, or charges at a police station.
When he shows up at a fucking job.
Yeah, this is a restraining order or you get married. There's nothing in between here. So this is why the world is weird. And there's a lot of gray area because she's a good-looking woman who married him for doing this. So it's,
we watch
crazy.
Steve Urkel do it every goddamn show for 30 minutes.
Every goddamn time. Every time. How many movies are like that? And we've talked about a lot. She said, I couldn't help but like him because he had such a lovable side. Okay. He said that he took her to expensive French restaurants and presented her with an antique ring, but she twice refused his proposals of marriage, too. It's the third. She needs you to do it 3 times to make sure that you're serious. It's the 3rd time's a charm, both times. I was happy the way things were. I felt I had the upper hand when we weren't married, and I didn't want things to change, she said.
There's the answer.
Oh, wow. That's on.
Yeah.
She said that to the newspaper. Talk about honest. That's some shit you'd say to your therapist, and they go, well, you got to work on that. That's not really good, right?
She's proud of it.
She said she wanted to have children, though, and that changed her mind, so they had an extravagant white wedding, she said, in 1980, and the daughter was born early the following year. She said they have an enviable life traveling together to engagements around the country where Alex could pocket more than 1,000 pounds in cash in a single night, which for showbiz sports is not exactly a lot.
No.
Often a chaotic figure, he valued the motherly order she brought to his life. He did love me, Lynn says. I think he realized I was a steadying influence. He appreciated the fact that I'm very grounded and normal. It would never let him get away with anything, but he was the focus of everything, at least until Lauren was born. So they married, and she said he's been a model of restraint, except for the whole beating up the maybe a prostitute thing.
That one time, yeah.
Oh, that one time. She said they enjoy dinners out with some of his snooker friends, or they eat wholesome meals such as mince and potato on nights at home.
Mince meat.
He's just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Even then, she had no time for his regular grand gestures. He showered her with money and gifts, presenting her with an expensive, I can't even pronounce that, some French name, watch, when Lauren was born. To this day, it remains unworn. She's just so down to earth and, And instead, she was the one who quietly collected the loose cash he left lying around the house and put it away for deposit on a bungalow. Higgins bought Lynn at least 4 cars during their 5-year marriage. He gave her a Mazda, a Mercedes, a Hillman, and to Lynn's horror, the Rolls Royce. I told him...
The man's got Rolls Royce money?
He's got snooker Rolls Royce money.
Wow.
That is wild. That's insane, man. I told him I'm 5'3". I'm grounded and normal. I'd have to sit on a cushion to even drive it. If you think I'm driving that through Chatham Village in a Rolls Royce, no way. So they took the car back. They said he was always a heavy drinker, although she denies he's an alcoholic, even though he drinks heavily every day.
Yeah.
She says he was a binge drinker. He just changed personalities. When he drank, he wasn't the same person I knew. It's called an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Is what that is.
That's when your chemical makeup changes.
And he can't help but do it is also part of it. The first rows were over Alex's inability to control his gambling, usually when he's drunk. Well, it seems like drinking is the main problem here.
Feels
he'd
like
have, he'd have tantrums after losing heavily in casinos. She'd find 500-pound betting slips around the house. Later, they'd fight because of his drinking. Lynn says, quote, Alex was the nicest person when he hadn't had a drink. He'd hoover the house. He'd go and cook. He'd take Lauren out for a walk, help change the nappies. I think those are diapers. He was just like a normal father. Wow. But
he
when
is
he had
a normal father.
No, apparently not. But when he had a drink, he could remember something you'd said 3 weeks ago and would bring it up. but he never knocked me about it. It was all verbal. He never beat the shit out of her, is what she said. It was all verbal, our arguing. Sometimes verbal arguments are worse. They grind you down. When Lauren was born, he was so happy. He doted on her. But when she was little, I stopped traveling with him so much. Until then, all my focus had been on him, and we'd travel everywhere together. All of a sudden, he had to stay in hotels on his own. He used to try to get home as often as he could, but it was a lonely life. So he started to drink more, and then they would fight more.
Yeah.
And she said he was never violent, though.
Oh.
So, 1980 here. He wins 4 tournaments and finishes runner-up in the World Championships to Cliff Thorburn. 81 wins the Masters again, but is forced to check into the Highfield nursing home to recuperate from something. I don't know what here. 1982, he wins his title again here, apparently. He's called his wife and baby daughter on stage to share in his glory.
Beautiful.
The 3 of them are captured forever in that moment. Baby Lauren waving at the crowd from her father's arms.
Yeah.
Lynn, blonde and pregnant with their second child, looks doe-eyed and proud, although already noticeably more tense than in their glamorous wedding photo of just 2 years earlier. Well, she's got a 1-year-old and she's pregnant. I'd look tense too.
In 2 years.
Yeah, I'd look tense too. The picture, they don't look. Do you want to see the picture? Here, roll over here for a second. Roll your chair. Look at this.
Oh, that poor lady.
She just looks tired.
Panicked. Yeah.
She just looks, she looks panicked. She just looks a little tired.
Yeah.
It's like, I was up the baby woke up last night.
Yeah.
Got a lot of gas going on. I think this kid's
digested a decent meal in months.
The man hasn't been able to digest a decent meal in 6 weeks. Go good fellas there. So 1983 at Preston Guild Hall, he came back from down 7-0 against Steve Davis to win the 83 UK Championship final, 16-15. He said, quote, Davis sends spectators to sleep. Spectators have no point of contact. How can you relate to a robot?
Yeah.
I'd rather have a drink with Idi Amin.
What?
That was because Idi Amin would buy him more drinks, is what Davis said in return. In other words, that, Idi Amin would get along better with him because he's a psycho like Idi Amin, is what he said. So, in 83, Higgins helps a young boy from Manchester who is a fan of his who's been in a coma for 2 months after, apparently this kid's parents wrote to him and said, our kid's, you're his biggest fan. He's in a coma. You want to hang out? So he recorded messages on tape and sent them to the boy.
Oh, that's nice.
And then he later visited the boy when he woke up and played a snooker match that he promised to have with him when he recovered as well. So there you go. 1983, second child's born, Jordan, and Lynn can't take him anymore now. Now it's getting a little out of hand.
She's had enough, yeah.
She's had enough. She moves back in with her mother, takes the kids with her.
Uh-oh.
So what do you think he's going to be doing while she's gone?
Oh, boy, it is time to check the yellow pages for,
yeah, and check the yellow pages.
For a friend.
Shortly afterwards, Alex pleaded with her to join him at his friend Oliver Reed's villa in Majorca to discuss things. Mm-hmm. So Lynn said she didn't know. She had a 3-year-old. She left the baby with the parents, but she said she went anyway. Yeah. When they reached the villa, Alex wanted to go out to celebrate. When Lynn refused to leave the baby, then they got in an argument.
Yeah.
And Lynn said, quote, it was a wet and windy night. Lauren was in my arms being sick, and he and I were rowing. I said to him, I'm going home. I don't want to be with you anymore. Then, she said, he started stuffing prescription sleeping tablets into his mouth.
Oh.
Is what she said. So Lynn was holding her daughter, tried to grab the tablets from him, but he broke free, ran away from the villa, holding a handful of pills and a half-drunk bottle of champagne. I'm going to take these with this, and just ran away.
Yeah.
Before he left a note and thrust it at Lynn, and it said, quote, I love you and I leave you everything.
Okay.
So that sounds like he's going to go kill himself with sleeping pills.
Yeah.
She eventually found him lying unconscious on a beach.
Yeah.
And called an ambulance, and he was on life support for 3 days after this.
Wow.
Yeah, she saved his life. 5 months later, somehow he convinced her to come back to him.
Mm.
Wow. She said, you could really be angry with Alex, but he could always turn me around. I guess so.
Yeah.
So he ends up buying a house, a 6-bedroom mansion in a wealthy village of Prestbury, Cheshire. How does he afford a fucking mansion?
A mansion and a fucking Rolls Royce and all these
Holy
cars? How does he
shit.
get... And kids.
A mansion with 2 acres of land and 8-foot electric gates. I want 8-foot electric gates.
500 pounds a match?
That's what I'm saying. And the neighbors are all millionaires and footballers. It's in the house later sold for £2 million. So I don't know,
How does he
man.
have that?
I don't know. Lynn said she hated the house.
Yeah.
Hated it. Alex thought that house would be a fresh start for us, but everything went wrong when we moved in. I just didn't feel at home. They said one night a big fight turned violent after Lynn refused to entertain a drunk Alex and his friends that he invited. He invited friends home from the pub.
Right.
And he was like, everyone's coming over. Make those snack things with the crackers that you make. And she's not having it.
I'm pregnant.
Yeah, so she said we ended up having a row, and then he locked the gates and just sort of started kicking things in the garden.
Okay.
So I just took the nanny and children upstairs, and he locked the gates of the house. He came in the house and started smashing things. Now it's turned into The Shining here. I locked the bedroom door, and then he was trying to hammer at the door. He just started shouting, this is what I think of your Waterford glass, and then threw it through a window.
Okay.
Now he starts breaking expensive shit.
Breaking crystal.
He moved on from crystal to throwing television sets out the window.
Oh, boy.
Which are pretty heavy.
Yeah.
So Lynn called her father from the bedroom and told him to call the police. Why wouldn't she call the police if she has a phone to call her father? Fighting back tears later on, she says, Lauren was saying to me, Granddad's going to come. My dad's going to be mad. Or my dad's going mad. He's going crazy. The police arrived before my dad, she says. This is Lynn. Alex just lost it. He was trying to fight with the police, shouting, Lynn, tell them to stop, which is I just saw on patrol like last week. This guy was beating the shit out of his girlfriend in an apartment complex. She's sitting in front of the door, just her head in her hands, crying, all messed up and shit. And he's like, What'd I do? And the cops had to fucking tie his ankles up and carry him away. Yeah. And he's yelling at the woman who's crying through bruises, going, this is what love is to you? This is what love is? Yo, tell them to stop. Tell him I didn't hit you. And they're like throwing him in a car. He's kicking at cops and shit. It's crazy.
It's very obvious what happened, sir.
Fuck. So Lynn said, I packed my stuff and left. The next day I told him, Alex, I'm never coming back, and you will go downhill from here.
Oh.
She moved in with her parents. She said she gave all the gold and the jewels that she gotten, gave it all to her mother, including her wedding ring.
Oh.
12 months later, she bought a little house for £67,000, and that's where she lives, and she likes it.
Done
Too simple. Too simple for him, yeah. She's very nice and down to earth. Mm-hmm. She said the children loved it because they could see people passing in the street and the ice cream man outside. At Delvern, you were on your own grounds.
Sure.
Alex, though, would stop by late at night for a long time.
Oh.
She said, I was really stressed about everything. I'd never lived on my own. The children were really young. Alex used to knock on the door and ring me constantly. It got so bad I was having panic attacks.
Yeah.
He's like, well, it worked the first time I tried to fucking get with you.
I shouldn't have let him stalk me.
Damn it.
Yeah.
I've given him the impression I enjoy a good stalking, and I'm impressed with that.
All right.
Fuck. She said there was a space of a year when I rarely let him see the children. He was drinking then. He might see them twice in a month, but he had to see them in my house. Now, Alex said, quote, my mind was shot to pieces. This is him about this time period. There was no way I could think of anything but how to get the family back together. I was living on tea, lager, and fags, and my weight dropped a stone in 1 month. A stone is 14 pounds.
Beer, tea, and cigarettes.
14 pounds in a month.
Boy.
That'll do that to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need food also. That's
right.
That helps. By 85, he continues to go downhill here. They end up divorcing, obviously. Alex admitted to a charge of offensive behavior in court during the marriage, and now he's really, from here on, there's no... Lynn kept him somewhat... He had to be somewhat on a keel for a while, but now it's...
Sail. Now there's no sail on this boat.
No, now it's just rudderless completely. So they divorce. Like I said, it's a mess. He starts really, all the headlines of their fights make it worse and worse and worse. And it seems everything starts to unravel here. In 1986, there's a guy named Paul Halthrell, who is a WPBSA representative, which is, I think, the World whatever the fuck, Professional Billiard Snooker Association or some shit. Wow. Higgins was asked to provide a urine sample at the UK Championships. They do drug tests on this. Who cares?
What drug is making you better at this?
What drug? Yeah, Ritalin, like for focus. Like what drug is gonna? Nothing is performance enhancing in the sport. Nothing at all. So you can cork your cue. Like what the fuck, man? So they said he asked for a urine sample, which is standard apparently. Yeah. Alex responds by headbutting the man in the face.
Okay, that's one. That's not it. That's kind of saying I'm on drugs. Watch.
Yes, and then he fucking smashed a pint glass and threatened him with it as well.
Oh my!
Threatened to cut him with it after he headbutted him. Then there was people all around. He started throwing plates at them.
Okay.
Like dinner plates. He was throwing them at them like Frisbees, which is very dangerous. You could really hurt someone. Here's a woman named Ann Yates who was in charge of the press room that night. She said that, quote, everyone believes it was a simple case of Higgins nutting Hatherall because he had been asking to supply a urine sample for a random drug test. But it went much deeper than that, and it was, without a doubt, the most difficult, most frightening time of my life. She said that Higgins had been a pain all night after he'd won a match. Quote, he'd obviously had a good drink and was spoiling for a fight after being asked to take the test by Hatherall. Mm-hmm. The next thing was that the doctor appeared looking shaken, and he said he'd been threatened physically in the cubicle. Then Alex went back to the players' room complaining to Anne that he was never being picked, or that he was always being picked on, and that he had already taken a test earlier in the tournament. I tried to explain to him that the tests were predetermined long before the tournament had begun, but he would not listen. He bleated that his life was a misery because his wife had left him again, taking their 2 children with her. He then demanded a private meeting with David Harrison, who's the tournament administrator. When Harrison took Higgins, by the way, has a fresh pint by now, into the tournament office across from the players' room, they were like, oh boy. Quote, after a few minutes and some heated words, there was an almighty crash as Alex shoved David into a filing cabinet against a partition wall. He punched Alex off him angrily, sending him across the room, still clutching his pint. He didn't fucking. He got punched in the face and didn't spill his beer. That's an alcoholic.
And delivered a punch or two and a shove.
Yeah. Those are guys that like catch a foul ball at a baseball game without spilling a drop. And like they had to reach over 2 people, but they kept the beer. So their body just automatically knows how to adjust. Knows how to adjust its arm so the beer doesn't spill. That's him. Across the room, quote, some time had elapsed by now, and Hatherall was getting curious and not knowing what had transpired, the doctor guy. He wandered back into the office to see what was going on, and when Higgins saw him, he dropped the glass, grabbed Paul by the tie, and smashed him with his head by the side of his eye, opening a nasty cut.
Oh, God.
He fucking Zinedine Zidaned him there. Yeah. That's rough. Spirited. He said... with blood pouring out and splattering Paul's shirt, Higgins tightened his grip on the tie and started to choke him.
Okay.
He's strangling him. By then, a security guard had arrived on the scene. There was a standoff for a moment as Higgins hesitated, then stormed back into the players' room where John Virgo, John Spencer, and Del Simmons attempted to calm him down. Wow. But Higgins wasn't finished. No, he punched a hole in the wall and another 3 in the door as they tried unsuccessfully to restrain him. Jesus Christ. He then stormed out into the corridor, followed by the 3 players, and grabbed a hold of a pile of dinner plates the caterers had left behind. He started skimming them at us like flying saucers, and we had to duck all over the place to avoid being hit, the reporter said.
He is just a menace everywhere, and plates are his thing. That's his favorite.
Yeah, anything heavy. Higgins then started taking swings at everyone in sight, anyone standing around. Eventually, security officer Frank Baker wrapped his arms around him and told him to calm down. But he was way out of control, the reporter says. There was a huge ball of foam in his mouth. I'd never seen anything like it in my life.
Wow.
He just lost his mind.
Yeah.
Then Higgins started stubbing his cigarette out on Frank's hand.
Oh, Jesus.
The guy who wrapped him up, the security guy. That was it. Virgo told Harrison to call the police because we had no other option. Alex was dragged from the building, face up and heels dragging by 2 police officers, 1 woman, but not before he gave us a urine sample, which tested negative anyway. He did this for no reason. There's nothing in his piss.
Is it the...
Just
why does he do it?
Pissed off.
Yeah.
Drunk and pissed off.
How dare you tell me I'm doing this illegally? Is it that?
He should be good and liquored up and pissed off by now. It's just, that's what he is.
Yeah.
So they had a emergency board meeting to consider what action to take later that afternoon. Higgins then conducts his own press conference outside his house that evening.
Of course.
Everyone, listen. They said, quote, wearing a ludicrous Biggles-type flying hat with fur trim and an ankle-length coat. He showed up looking like Dolomite to fucking give a press conference in 1986 after he beat everybody up. Curiously, Higgins was allowed to carry on in the event and won one more match, earning him 18,000 pounds before Steve Davis stopped him in the semifinals. Okay. Paul Hatherell says, quote, Alex was never the easiest of people to get on with, especially when he wasn't winning, and we all used to dread his presence at a tournament. The crowds obviously loved him, but he was just a pain to us.
Yeah.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel. Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles...
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Oh, God. Quote, there was a chilling follow-up during the WPBSA Awards dinner at London's Grosvenor House Hotel. Hatherell recalls, it was a dazzling affair, a celebration of the previous season's achievements by the players, and we were all enjoying ourselves. Dancing followed a sumptuous meal, and my wife Jillian and I were out strutting our stuff when Alex appeared with his girlfriend Siobhan. Okay. They made their way to us on the dance floor, and Alex leaned over and apologized to Jillian for what had gone on at Preston. Before she could even acknowledge his apology, he muttered in my ear, and you're a dead man. I'm so sorry for all the shit I caused in making your husband. I headbutted him. That's really shitty. I'm terribly sorry. Terribly. You're dead to me, mother. I'm going to fucking kill you. Very sorry I did that.
You're a dead man.
Wow. He ended up being fined 200 pounds for assault and 50 pounds for damage to the door later on for that whole thing. 4 months later, though, a disciplinary tribunal fined him 12,000 pounds and banned him from 5 tournaments for the Preston incidents and various others. Hatherell says that Higgins was not a monster all the time and did have a fine sense of humor when things were going well. He said, I'll never know whether he was kidding or not after he won the UK championship in '83 because he insisted with a straight face that he wanted Alexander Gordon Higgins inscribed on the trophy. Yeah. Although he didn't get his own way, I'm sure he was chuckling inside of the thought of getting me going again. Okay. Even Ann Yates doesn't believe Higgins is all bad, the reporter, and says that they've been friendly for years. Quote, as bad as he was, as wicked as he could be, I still have a soft spot for him because he would make me laugh. Wow. When he's not shit-faced, I feel like when he's sober, he's fine. Yeah. And when there's a window of when he's having fun, his first few drinks, when he's getting a buzz on and everything's fine, and then it gets dark after a minute here.
You got to really keep an eye on what he's doing and the character that's out right now, because once there's got to be a trigger showing, you know what I mean?
There's
got to be something that once you see it, you go, everybody get out.
Yeah, sure. Shortly after this happened, he repeatedly called her a bimbo, and she had to report her to bosses, and they fined him for it because he wouldn't talk to her. Quote, who is this talking? Oh, friend, okay. He was brilliant at crosswords, and I'd be struggling like mad to do one in the Daily Telegraph. All of a sudden, Alex would peep over my shoulder and rattle off 7 answers. He could be extremely witty and a great one for one-liners.
Wow.
He's a smart fuck. So, though she's concerned for Alex's present plight, she'll never forget how he tormented her for 10 years. This reporter, this is hilarious. I always used to say after one of his slaggings that I would worship the ground coming to him, but that was just a saying. You wouldn't wish that Alex got on anyone, but that's not to say I'd want to make peace with him because he was an absolute bastard to me. He did his best to wreck my life, and to a large extent he succeeded, since I knew I was never allowed to hit back. Jesus, they said referees hated to handle his matches because he was complain when he lost, and he would even bitch when he won. So all sorts of shit. His ex-wife Lynn said, quote, he attacked the official after getting off the phone to me. I'd served him an injunction to stay away from me and the children. He just wouldn't leave us alone. For 5 years I went through hell. That's what happened.
Stalking. Yep.
That's when he got off the phone with her, saying that you can't see me or the kids. That's when he freaked out and did all that. So a little more with Alex and Lynn and Siobhan here, the new girlfriend.
Yeah.
He would still show up drunk and angry outside Lynn's house, demanding to see the children, shit-faced in the middle of the night.
Where are my babies?
At one point, she had to call the police because he threw a skateboard through the window of Lynn's parents' home.
Well, that's how he got there.
Wow. She said, my children knew the local police officers by name, Lynn said, because they'd have to come so often.
Yep.
So in 86 is when he starts going out with Siobhan Kidd, who is 13 years younger than him. Right. And he refers to her, or she refers to him, he refers to her as his last great love.
Yeah.
He said they met in a club in Manchester where all great love stories start.
That's where they began, yeah.
Yeah, this is when his relationship with Lynn was, quote, very much on and off. Lynn said no. She said not at all, that we weren't on at all. That was when he would show up screaming at my house, but that doesn't mean we were on. It was when, she said that she remembers having to placate Siobhan, who was convinced Alex was still in love with Lynn because, he'd show up in the middle of the night at her house.
Yeah.
Lynn says, I think she felt threatened because he used to go on about the kids a lot. I think he wanted the family unit back. So November 5th that year, Alex arrives at Lynn's house with a box of fireworks. I think you know where this is going.
Yeah.
A gleeful Lauren, then age 7, and Jordan, aged 5, watched as their mom and dad set them off in the back garden. They said it's a picture of blissful domesticity. Alex was being so well behaved, Lynn invited him in for coffee.
Okay.
Yeah. Then she learned that for the last 2 hours, Siobhan had been in a hospital bed after taking an overdose. He just came over to play with the kids.
Wow.
Lynn said, why are you fucking here
playing
with fireworks when she's in the hospital? It's your wife or your girlfriend. Lynn took it upon herself to phone the hospital where she was, and she was in stable condition. And Lynn says, I couldn't believe it, that he just sat in my house and not even done anything.
Unbelievable.
1986, a video game comes out titled Alex Higgins World Snooker.
What?
He's on the cover. Check this fucking video game box. I love 80s video games. Look, roll over here. Look at it. All
That's
pixelated.
A game.
That's a game. Alex Higgins World Snooker. 1986, made by Lindumsoft. That's the
fascinating. What
maker of the
game console is that?
I think it's a computer game because it says
thing?
PC game because it says press any key.
There you go. Yeah.
1987, he's fined $500 for being abusive toward tournament director Kevin Norton at the Irish Masters. They move in together, he and Siobhan, in 1987. Okay. March 1988, he's got some problems. He gets arrested again after a big fight with his girlfriend here. I guess they got in a fight, and Siobhan wouldn't let him back in the apartment. So I guess he wakes up the neighbors by yelling and screaming at the door and beating it, trying to break it down.
Yeah.
Siobhan said the whole thing is over and had told him that days earlier, but he believed that she was seeing another man. So a neighbor called the police. They came, and as he's being taken away, he was heard screaming, quote, I'll get bail in a half hour.
I'll be right back.
I'll be right back. An eyewitness said, quote, he managed to get through the security front door by ringing someone else in the complex. It's UPS.
Yep.
It was well after midnight, and he was ranting and banging on the door, screaming about taking back gifts if she didn't let him in. I want my shit back. It was the second time in a matter of weeks that this happened, but this time it was far worse. When Higgins saw the police, he turned his collar up, pointed down a passageway, and told them he's gone down there. You just missed him. He turned his collar up.
It wasn't me. It was the guy with the collar down.
Wow. You're looking for a down collar, man. That's not me. He's down there. I'm an up collar guy. Totally different guy.
Same clothes, collar up.
Just
He's
different.
over there. Yeah.
Fucking bloody fists from beating on a door. He then jumped into his car and his mate started to drive off. The police realized they'd been conned and stopped him. They believed him. He said, he went that way. And they were like, thank you, mate. And they fucking took off. And then he ran the other way like a French farce.
I think we've been had.
Wow. Holy shit.
Check his wallet, mate. Is it just Hunt's ketchup labels?
Oh, no. Oh, my God. Siobhan said, it wasn't me who called the police. I have no comment to make. Okay. So he still lives in a big, giant house, despite it. He sold it recently, but still lives there.
Yeah.
So
renting
he
it
said,
from him, I guess? I don't know.
I don't know. He said, quote, an incident at Siobhan's flat? No comment, sir. Now, ta-ta. That's what he told a reporter. Ta-ta. June 29th, 1988. Everything is fine in the Alex Higgins-Siobhan relationship again. It's all good now. It's good now. They said it was a little problem, but come on, it's okay. They said they're back together and happy. Siobhan said it's been 4 months now and said that she also has a new business that she set up as a picture restorer.
Okay.
She said, Alex is behaving himself and I'm really into my work. The nice thing is that he understands how much time I have to put into it.
Yeah.
The nice thing is I can be gone 18, 20 hours a day and not have to deal with him much. I come back when he's sleeping. It's very good. They said, indeed, the fiery Irishman seems to have turned over a new leaf and sat contentedly close to Kid throughout the whole of the 2-hour show in the VIP box, just in front of your loyal diarist, this writer. He told me of his new culinary delight since I complained of feeling a bit peckish. I've already eaten, he said with a grin, a pound of cold tripe with just a little vinegar.
Ew.
No, that's not good.
A pound?
A pound.
Yikes.
He said that lovely stuff, especially in the hot weather, he said. Yeah. Meanwhile, here, there's an engagement ring on her finger here, and there you go. Quote, it's a real, she's also got a hat, and she said, it's a real Australian shepherd's hat, she told me, tilting the headgear. Alex got it for me from a band who were playing at a club in London, she added proudly, uniquely making Higgins appear to blush just for a second. Ah, what it is to be in love, the article says. Okay.
It's a hat made out of dog?
I don't know what the fuck it is, I guess. Yeah, no, it's a shepherd's hat.
Oh.
It's what shepherds wear in Australia.
Not an Australian shepherd hat.
No, I don't think it's made from an Australian shepherd. I think Australians. I think Australians who also are shepherds wear the hat.
Got it.
Yeah, he made this. He's going to get me a golden retriever hat next week. He said that one. I'm really waiting for it. Can't wait.
It's the hat the mom and don't tell mom the babysitter is wearing when she comes home.
I think so. Yeah, when she comes home after her completely irresponsible 2 months away from her house full of children. Sorry, lady. You got about 10 years before you're doing international months-long vacation, sweetheart.
Australia.
Yeah. Shouldn't have had those last 3. You know what I'm saying? The other 2 were primed and ready to leave the house. The other 3, that's on you. Sorry.
You're just going to take off. You're gonna fuck off with a dude just met?
Dude, P.S. I hate this movie. We did an episode on it. I love the movie, but holy shit, we really ripped her apart for that. We're like, are you... And they call her, and she's like, guys, you can't call me every day. This is mom's vacation. Gee, sorry for interrupting you for fucking 5 minutes, you fucking selfish twat.
We got a corpse on our hands, Ma.
Jesus. Yeah, we got literally a body that we're dealing with here. We're dealing with bodies. You're getting plowed by some rich guy. What are we talking about?
Some rich guy took you away from your kids and can't afford to take us too? Man. Jesus. It's
not
summer.
Fair. Yeah, what's up with that?
We're not even in school right now.
We could go anywhere. So, July 14th, 1988, everything is wonderful, except the police are called to the home again.
Oh?
Police were called to the home of fiery snooker star Alex Higgins, shares with his girlfriend after neighbors heard a blazing row.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man. Today, his girl Siobhan laughed off the incident at the love nest they share. Siobhan, who works at a city art gallery, said, quote, "I was surprised as everyone else when the police arrived. We were not really having a row, just one of those things that happens between couples. Everything is fine between Alex and me. Probably someone overheard us having a little row. A neighbor complained of noise from the flat, which there's been crazy shit going on there.
Right.
You hear noise, they're just like, call the cops again." They said that Siobhan said they may have heard other people arguing and mistakenly thought it was Alex.
Could have been somebody else. Who knows?
She said, "I don't know how anyone can say there are rows every weekend because I'm always away at the weekend." Oh. 3 officers were sent to the flat there. They spent about 15 minutes talking to everybody. It is understood the incident was dealt with as a domestic and no further police action were taken. Okay. Their neighbor who lives below them said she called the police. She says she suffers from a heart condition and said, quote, "The noise was terrible. It made me feel ill. I heard a woman screaming out of the window."
Somebody with a heart condition was scared to death of this.
This is, but it sounds like, I don't know what she's scared of. She recently put her flat up for sale because of the noise, she said. She added, "I can't bear it any longer. The rows usually start on Thursday or Friday and continue most of the weekend." Okay. Oh, man. She said, "In the past, I've heard a woman shouting for help." Yeah. 1988, he said that, he's going to start a new season as a solo performer instead of being a member of the Howard Kruger's Framework team. Oh, wow. They said certain sponsors have not been keen to be associated with Alex. In fact, I did not want his reputation to rub off on the other players, is what the team leader said. So he's going to have to go solo here. He said, "The new arrangement will give me the freedom that a flamboyant character like myself requires."
Yeah, because
I
need to be alone, because otherwise my teammates will start beating up their wives.
No shit. 1989, he beat Stephen Hendry, and they're going ass kickings are going to spread like wildfire. And he beats this guy to win the Irish Benson and Hedges Masters in 89. They said that Alex was always by Lynn, by the way. He's still stalking Lynn, even by 89.
Fuck, man.
He stormed into an Indian restaurant when she was having a birthday meal with her family, and in a blind rage, he ordered her to, quote, "get home with the children," before he threw her out. Later that night, he fell out of his apartment window and broke several bones in his foot.
Yeah.
Not his apartment, an apartment. She said that he was coming back to harangue her. Quote, "I used to have the kids watched at school because he'd threatened that he would take them to Dublin." She says, "If I went out to dinner with friends, he'd have me watched." Ooh. Jesus. So January 89 is when he breaks his ankle in a fall from the flat here. Yeah. He's taken to the hospital. It is his flat, okay, that he fell out of. A patrolling policeman found him lying on the ground shortly before 2 a.m. He was taken to the Manchester Royal Infirmary, where he had stitches in his head and his ankle set before being discharged. A spokesman for the police said there's no suggestion that it was anything other than an accident. Holy shit. This is him and Siobhan's place.
Yeah.
Which obviously he's been arrested at all the time. So they said the snooker star had a cup of tea poured over him and threw an ashtray against the wall in a violent row that ended with him spending the night in police cells. This is a different time.
Yeah.
He was bound over in the sum of $300 to keep the peace after magistrate advised him not to let drink get the better of him. In the same week, just before Christmas, Higgins had a bankruptcy case filed against him, adjourned after offering to pay off a $100,000 tax debt by installments over 6 months. He was also threatened with prison over maintenance arrears of $14,646 owing to his ex-wife Lynn for their 2 children, but the threat was lifted when he made payment. Holy shit, he's ordered to pay a lump sum of $1,000 or £1,000 and £300 a month to Lynn. Higgins, as here, they said, he also has Siobhan, stormy relationship. She says, "I'm very proud of Alex. He has a lot of troubles lately, but I can help him to put his problems behind him. I can fix him," is what she said. Wow.
He's my
that is
favorite
wild.
mess.
He can do it. She said that the reason why he fell was Siobhan said he was drunk and she'd locked the door from trying to stop him from going to the pub.
So
he climbed out a window and fell out and broke his ankle. That's because he's too drunk to get out the window.
Jesus, Karen, I'm still going.
I'm still gonna go. Yeah. So, February 1989, it says, quote, it's Hopalong Higgins. Sorry, fucking talk. Hopalong Higgins.
That is
He was
fantastic.
down and out. Oh, my God. He was down and out, his face freshly scarred, his left foot shattered. He looked like a wino begging a penny.
Oh.
Alex Higgins, 39, sometime snooker genius and life loser, was setting off to a place where nobody wanted him. This is fucking amazing. This is from the Daily Record. He says, quote, I'm snookered, he admitted. I'm hard up and the doctors say I may never walk properly again. So he was ignoring everything and just hobbling around anyway, going to a tournament to pocket 875 pounds for some European tournament here in Normandy. He said, this is a weird quote, he constantly fingered the 12-stitch scar and rubbed the leg injuries sustained falling 25 feet from his flat.
Gross. How about you keep your fucking fingers off of an open wound?
Finger it. I'm going to finger it, though. Put some chalk on it, make it feel better.
Fingering the stitches. Gross.
He insisted he didn't fall out of the window because he was drunk. He just leaned against an unlocked window, and he fell out.
Yeah.
As we all do.
Real Leslie Nielsen moment.
Yeah, just bloop right out the window. Real Nordberg action here. So he said he didn't injure his hands, which is the important part because that's for the game. You know what I mean? So, yeah, he said that the doctors told him he could be a cripple if he played or perhaps worse. A clot or embolism could be released, go to his lungs or heart and kill him. But he said, I don't care. I need 875 pounds.
Yeah, I'm broke.
He said, quote, the last trip was meant to be from Liverpool to Belfast, but I got drunk and ended up in Dublin instead. He said that he has a minder named Sean, who he said, quote, was in demolition. That's his business. He's in demolition business. He said they were late arriving to this tournament because they took a wrong turn. So he said, I don't drive. I was doing the navigating. I guess it's my fault. He said, you know, he shows up to a tournament late, limping on crutches with people fucking driving him around. And yeah, he's a goddamn disaster all over. There's a guy named John Parrott. Oh, my God. He said, quote, I wonder if Alex would mind if I jumped up on his shoulder. And everybody laughed. They can teach kangaroos to box, so maybe they can be taught to play snooker as well. And they laughed.
He's a peg-leg pirate.
Yeah, exactly. So they said he has a huge, I guess, giant, like a fluid thing around his ankle. It's disgusting. So they also said that they had him saying that it was unfair to let Alex play, being that he had been banned from the tournament because his foot had been in a cast. So he keeps going on. He says, it's nobody's business but mine. Fuck. Once he woke up the next day, they asked him again, and he told a reporter to fuck off and walked away. Fuck off. Not interested. Oh, my God. So, anyway, he's betting on himself as well, which is nice here. He settled everything. He actually won some money one night and did well on it with the cast on. Yeah. He won money and did well. So, April 15th, 1989, cops are looking for Alex.
Oh?
The headline is Higgins Search Drama. Fiery snooker star Alex Higgins was being sought by police after he made a late-night call at his ex-wife's home. Okay. Detectives swooped in at dawn at the Moreland cottage he shares with his girlfriend, but the former world champion was not home. Neighbors in this close-knit village of Holcombe near Bury said that Higgins was seen leaving last night with Siobhan. Police want to talk to the snooker star about a visit to the Heald Green home of his ex-wife Lynn early yesterday. In the latest incident, Jesus Christ, I guess he showed up, and at her modern detached home, Lynn angrily refused Alex's visit. Her father, who lives nearby, said this, quote, Lynn is tired and weary of the whole business, and it's become a constant nuisance, and she's had enough. He's a mess, obviously. He gets arrested again. At one point in 1989, Lynn was awarded a 6-figure payout after Alex gave a libelous interview about her to a newspaper. So,
what did he say?
Anything. In the UK, you can't. Libel laws are way different. Yeah. So they said his management company Framework is declared bankrupt, owing him $450,000. Oh, no. So he's fucked. Somebody owes him all that money. September 3rd, 1989. The headline is Snooker Star Higgins Goes Wild in Hong Kong. Oh, Jesus.
How did he get there?
Oh, boy. He rampaged his way through a tour of Hong Kong in a shocking display of bad boy behavior. Okay. Hotel staff and snooker tournament officials were appalled by Hurricane Higgins' antics here. His trial of mayhem, Jesus Christ, included refusing to pay a hotel bill of almost £1,000. Yeah. Okay, locking his girlfriend out of their hotel room wearing just her underwear.
Okay.
Getting involved in a physical skirmish at a disco. Last night he said, quote, I can't say I have been too impressed with Hong Kong. I can't wait to get back to England.
What?
You seem like you're having a ball.
You're the problem there.
Fuck, man. 4 days later, he was knocked out. He's penalized. Okay, so he's out of the tournament anyway. Higgins claimed he was being victimized for his reputation and said he felt like giving up the game. More trouble followed when he locked Siobhan out of their hotel room wearing only a bra and panties. The spokeswoman for the plush hotel says Siobhan was screaming in the corridor.
Yeah.
Then there's the bill. They were having a fight and it became public disturbance, which annoyed other guests. Staff said Higgins later refused to pay a hotel bill of almost $1,000 and left it in the hands of the tournament organizers. The hotel spokeswoman said, quote, he made quite a scene. It was only 12 noon, but Higgins appeared to be drunk. He just left without paying. He then stormed out of Hong Kong for a 6-day contest in Thailand, but then returned. This newspaper is so hard to read. I'm sorry. It's like wrapped. It was bent when it was scanned in, so it's like it's like in a weird wave. So he returned. Blah blah blah. Soon after arriving, he was caught up in an incident involving a girl at the Joe Bananas disco. Complaints were made. Joe Bananas disco. Complaints were made about his behavior, and he was asked to leave. Shit. And then he was scheduled for an interview with Hong Kong's top TV hostess, 23-year-old American Sue Brooks. Oh. She said Higgins turned up 2 hours late and was drunk. He was supposed to play a few trick shots, but arrived without his cue. When Jimmie White refused to let him use he walked out. His manager brought him back a few minutes later, and we managed to get a few words out of him. Then he asked me if he could take me home for the night. I replied it would be a short night, and he told me to go and get fucked.
Yeah.
I wasn't insulted because I just don't respect the guy. Yeah. He's just a pathetic has-been.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, man. He denied the allegations about his antics in Hong Kong. He said, this is all crazy. When approached by the Sunday Mirror, he said, I don't know what the TV girl is talking about. Nothing happened. And I don't know anything about any incident at any disco. He says, quote, there was no row with Siobhan. She has simply returned to the UK for work. I'm sick and fed up with all this controversy. So they asked Siobhan, and she said, I don't know what you're talking about. I was not locked out of the hotel room. Alex did not miss any engagements while I was with him. He did not get drunk. Everything was just fine. Then she turned back and said, quote, there are a dozen red roses in my living room that say there is nothing wrong between us.
Okay.
Because guys never give flowers when they've done something stupid. That never happens.
That's the only reason we do it.
Wow.
Was it Valentine's Day? Was it your birthday's anniversary? Then he fucked up.
Did something fucked up. So October 1989 here, the relationship with Siobhan ends after he allegedly beats the shit out of her.
Yeah.
She told police that he held her down and broke her cheekbone. Oh. There are different articles that say cheekbone and jaw. It goes back and forth. And how did he do this? With his fist, you might say. Well, you don't want to hurt your hands if you're Alex. With a hairdryer.
Jesus.
She didn't go to the cops till 2 months later and said he broke my cheekbone or jaw with a hairdryer. So October 1989, this is crazy. So they said he's the owner of a black cab, which he bought for no better reason than because he loves its design and with absolutely no intention of installing a meter or applying for trade. However, the taxi buff was somewhat startled recently while waiting for the traffic lights to change late last night when one of the vehicle's passengers' doors swung open wildly and a rather disheveled Higgins slumped into the back seat. Some guy has a taxi that's not a taxi. He just likes the design of a taxi, so he bought that car, painted it black. Higgins thought it's a fucking taxi, he jumps in the guy's back seat. Right. It's like if you drive a Prius around a major city, people just get in your car and go, Uber? And you're like, no, get fuck away from me.
Are you looking for Jimmie? No, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about? So many times.
Let's go.
So the command, quote, Lumcar Road followed, and when the driver protested that the cab wasn't for hire, he was showered with 7 5-pound notes and told to get a move on, or words to that effect. Deciding that the hour for reasoned argument was long past, the motorist just fucking put the money in his pocket and drove him there.
Took him where he needed to go.
He took him, he just did a fare. He said it was 5 minutes away. It was right there. He said it was just right fucking there. He said it was less than a 5-minute walk, he said even. So it was like the next block. After losing a first-round championship in the 1990 World Championships, he's heavily intoxicated, shit-faced, and punches the PBSA press officer Colin Randall upon arriving for his press conference. Then gives a slurred, shit-faced tirade in which he announces his retirement from not from professional play and also being abused by the media, and he's out. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. I'm out.
Enough.
So anyway, he then reaches an amicable out-of-court settlement with Siobhan here. Apparently, she obtained a possession order on the $75,000 cottage they lived in, and he was due to appeal it. And I don't know what ended up happening here. They said they didn't speak to each other. They both left. Apparently, they came to a settlement. We don't know what it is.
That's good.
So he finally gets a divorce from Lynn in 1990. It's finally finalized.
Yeah.
She gets full custody of the kids.
Of course.
And she says slowly he realized that was it. It only took him years to realize it. Then another incident follows at the World Cup where he would confront a guy named Dennis Taylor, who's another player, and say, look, look, you, if I had my gun in my hands, I'd blow your brains out. I come from Shankill, and you come from Colisland, and the next time you're in Northern Ireland, I'll have you shot.
You can't
he
say
said,
that,
we're both
right?
from, not usually. He said, we're both from Northern Ireland, so I'll get you there. He then also, quote, insulted Taylor's recently deceased mother.
Oh, God, jeez.
Oh, my God, he's a menace. He's a fucking menace.
The man's mom just died.
Just died. Lynn says he was probably having a nervous breakdown because we just got divorced. So he was fined £5,000 and docked 25 ranking points and banned for the majority of the season. And he's also starting to play shittier as well.
Sure.
Physical decline.
Yeah.
He drinks like a fish all day long and just smokes and smokes and smokes. So he said that when he gets shitty, he would start to complain. He would yell at the referee. He'd yell about the table, the cloth on the table, the temperature of the arena. That's what he'd started to do here. Meanwhile, he's just starting to suck.
Oh, boy.
So he gets suspended as well. For a while, like we said, from this whole deal, he's suspended and, for one of his outbursts, probably punching the press guy. During the 1991 World Trick Shot Championships, he referred to the black ball as, quote, Muhammad Ali in front of a live TV audience.
Oh, boy.
I don't know.
In the 90s?
In 1991.
I mean, what?
Muhammad Ali, that, all right, isn't it? Wow, and then I don't know what he was thinking.
Why did he do that?
Yeah, that is fucking wild, man. Holy shit, that's fucking funny. Here's another thing. I don't know where it goes, so it got put. This is where it's going here.
Okay.
In his memoir, Stephen Hendry, one of the players, said he was fond of Higgins. He's the guy who said he was doing all the shit, and I loved it. It was fucking hilarious. He said that he recalls one occasion they played each other in the first round of the UK Championship. And he said, quote, Alex likes to have enemies. Now I'm winning. Not everything, but a very good percentage. His laser eyes have locked on me. Everything he says appears to have a barb attached to it. Resentment pours out of him like a spilled pint.
Yeah.
He is the one, the talent, the genius. Woe betide anyone threatening this. Alex comes in, walks in toward me, and I offer my hand for the customary shake. He takes it, looks me right in the eye, and says, shake hands with the devil.
Yeah.
That's what he said. The best way to deal with the aggression is to ignore it and to try to get the match over as soon as possible. I beat him convincingly 9-4, and throughout the game he's snapping and snarling. At the end I offer my hand again, and again he takes it, giving me the death stare and mutters, "Up your ass, you cunt."
Yeah.
In the after-match press conference, the journalists who've noticed Alex muttering things in my direction ask him what he's been saying. Quote, "Oh, I was just saying, well done, you were a bit lucky," he replies. Looking like butter wouldn't melt. Cool as a cucumber.
Up your ass, you cunt. I was just telling him good job.
Well done. Bit lucky there. Get you next time, mate. 1994, he has a cancerous growth removed from his mouth.
Okay.
1996, he has another cancerous growth removed from his mouth. March of 1996, he assaults a 14-year-old boy.
Yeah, I mean, that seems logical.
Wow. Yeah, this is fucking, I don't know why. He's out of his mind, but he's on assault charges here, accused of assaulting a boy of 14 years old, and he's bailed out. This is fucking crazy. So he ends up, he is unfit to attend a court hearing in Stockport, he's found.
Okay.
So he ends up, rather than getting fit for it, he goes for a weekend in Spain.
Yeah, may as well.
Might as well, yeah. He was spotted at the bar of a restaurant near Malaga on Saturday night, a day after failing to appear before the magistrates for medical reasons.
Yeah.
He's been due to face a charge of assault causing bodily harm to a teenage boy. He was arrested last month at the home of his former wife, Lynn. Jesus Christ. He went back there again, dude, that late. He's 96, dude.
They've been divorced for 6 years.
Yes. Wow. After the police were called, the case was adjourned until next month after a note from the Central Manchester Healthcare Trust was presented to the court saying Higgins was not fit to attend following an operation. The next day, Higgins appeared at the Spanish village of Puerto Cabo Pino near Calahonda on the Costa del Sol and headed for the restaurant bar before chatting to diners and a singer. His lawyer, Robin Falvey, said he's recuperating after an operation. If you have an operation, you might be fit to go off to the sun while you might not be fit to work.
Right. That's a great point.
Yeah. You're fit to go out and drink. December 22nd, 96, he has a plea for help. He's got no money. He's totally fucked here. He says that he requested money from the benevolent fund of the World Professional Billiards and Snooker Association. So he's requesting money because he's got no fucking money.
Yeah.
So, yeah. 1997, he's with a woman named Holly Hayes, Haise, who's a former prostitute.
Oh, yeah.
And she lives in Manchester, and they lived together for 9 months, okay? She's going to attempt suicide. That'll happen. Then, later in the year, he's kicked out of a player's lounge and then attacked with an iron bar after a heated argument in a nightclub. Not by her, by somebody else.
Right.
So he's recovering from being beaten with an iron bar outside of a nightclub. During his recovery, Holly, his girlfriend here, stabs him 3 times.
Oh, my.
This is fucking crazy. Yeah. Twice in the arm, once in the stomach. He suffers no permanent damage and later joked of the incident, "I've been stabbed so many times in the back that I didn't feel a thing."
Okay.
So, it's normal for him. 1997, he's again, got his cancer is back here. Smoking 80 cigarettes a day will do that to you.
Crazy, right?
That's a wild amount of cigarettes, dude. That's I mean, any amount's bad for you, but 80 is like
in a day,
huh?
And then
I couldn't imagine
tomorrow.
If I smoked 2 packs in a day. If I did that, I'd be like, I wouldn't be able to swallow. I'd feel sick.
Forget
I'd feel
that
disgusted.
part. Your lungs feel worn out.
Oh,
the
you
next
feel
day.
awful.
Because I've smoked 2 packs in a day, and it doesn't feel good. 4? Are you kidding?
Oh, man. Jesus. So he's got throat cancer now, too.
Yeah.
So Lynn said it was a big shock. The kids were very upset, but he didn't want to go in and have treatment straight away. We had to push him. I think he was frightened about the whole experience.
Yeah.
Fuck. So October 97, his girlfriend's charged with stabbing him.
Yeah.
That's good, I guess. Jesus Christ. Stabbed him twice in the arm and once in the stomach.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the injuries could fuck him up worse, he said. She got a court order at that point forbidding him from molesting, assaulting, or communicating with her.
Okay.
the stabber. And this is the third woman in a row to obtain a restraining order against him.
Yep.
It's a 3 in a row. From a July 31st, 2010 article, it's called Don't Meet Your Hero. Emily Horicon is the name here. She said that, quote, Alex Higgins was a teenage hero of mine. For a couple years during the early and mid-'80s, snooker was a big deal in our house. Yeah. This story's amazing, by the way. Interviewing fading hellraisers is standard stuff for lads magazines, so when Dare O'Brien, then editor of Himself, Ireland's first men's magazine, suggested Alex Higgins as a cover story for the first issue, the idea was greeted enthusiastically, especially by me.
Yeah.
At the time, I was too young to know just how disappointing it usually is to meet your heroes, especially when time and life have not been kind to them. We met in a Temple bar. At first, the change in him seemed largely physical. He was just a couple months away from being diagnosed with throat cancer and was already very slight. He looked older than 49 and was remarkably fey, darting off in every direction magpie-like, attracted by a poster, someone wearing a coat he admired, or a magazine rack. He refused to answer any questions or simply just ignored them. Instead, he talked about his many injustices at the hands of the World Professional Snooker and Billiards Association and the women who had let him down, never prepared to admit his part, the part he himself played in the downfall of his dreams. We went to Eden, Dare O'Brien, his wife, Claudina, I don't know what the fuck that name is, Claudina, Higgins and I. I don't think so. Right. Cliodhna.
Whoa.
Your guess is as good as mine. And I. Higgins refused to order any food, telling Dare that he would just take bites off his plate.
Yeah, I don't want to run up a bill.
Wow. He barely sat down longer than 5 minutes at a stretch. Instead, he wandered around the restaurant, chatting to other diners, then darting back to us, telling us what they'd said.
What?
The few times he did sit still, the disjointed conversation was all about his grievances, how he felt his family hadn't supported him, how his hand had been injured so he couldn't play properly anymore, the great comeback he was planning if only certain people didn't stand in his way.
What kind of interview is this?
Better.
This is nuts.
Oh. It gets better, dude. At one point, he took exception to our waitress. I think she suggested he might like a starter at least. Maybe just a starter if you don't want an entree. And with quite remarkable vitriol, he hissed that she was an ugly lesbian and he didn't want her anywhere near the table. Would you like? Maybe I can just get you a starter. Out of my table, ugly lesbian. I don't want you by me. What the fuck?
I'm not hungry, and I'm hungry no more. It's from the pussy on your breath.
Oh my God! You box-licking twat! Get away from me!
I can smell it. You just had some fatty, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh my God. Luckily, the manager was graciousness personified and redeployed the waitress, instead serving us herself. But it was a nasty incident. A reminder that underneath the fey but still charming exterior was a frightening level of rage and paranoia. By then, the long-standing rumors of violence against women had been corroborated by a vile incident in which he had fractured the jaw of girlfriend Siobhan Kidd with a hairdryer.
Yeah.
Higgins and I went to Bad Bob's, where he was greeted like a hero by a certain type of Dublin lad. They bought him whiskeys and formed a kind of guard of honor around him. When a hefty American asked me to dance and didn't seem to want to take no for an answer, Higgins went up close to him and muttered something in his ear. I'm guessing something along the lines of words to his fellow players, I come from Shankill, next time you're in Northern Ireland I'll have you shot.
Yeah.
Because the guy, at least twice his size, looked rattled and backed off. The lads patted him on the back in approval. When I finally decided it was time for me to leave, Higgins asked would I not come back to his hotel room with him to, quote, scrub his back and make him feel good. He asked rather wistfully, without much conviction, it seemed to me, and took refusal without rancor. It's just a habit to ask to be disgusting and ask everyone to fuck you, I guess.
Maybe come back to my room with me and rub me?
Oh, my God. Not so his phalanx of supporters, one of whom told me it was my job to go home with Higgins.
Wow.
Obviously, deputy magazine editor and slut were pretty much the same thing in his eyes. I left Higgins there with another whiskey on the way, looking fragile and old and a far, far cry from the dashing figure he once cut. What one paper has dubbed as the longest suicide in sporting history was by then well underway, and the most charismatic snooker player ever, the man Steve Davis called the one true genius that snooker has ever produced, was clearly never going to make the comeback he kept talking of. My little brother had asked me to get Higgins' autograph, but in the end, I didn't bother. He'd probably have charged me for it anyway.
The longest suicide.
That's it. Longest suicide in his sporting history. June 29th, 1990, or June 20th, 98, he says he has throat cancer. He announces it. He says he's very sore, and he says that his friend said he was in complete denial about it, and it's making him unstable. I've been his friend for 25 years, but I'm drained after a day of dealing with him. He's been involved with all sorts of arguments and all this type of shit. The cancer treatment worked, apparently, but he became, I mean, you got to see him. He looks, he looks 80 when he's 49. He looks like an 80-year-old man.
And the poison they put in there has to be so strong if you've got like cancer. Super aggressive shit too. So and he probably does.
So that's the thing. It's got to be just have eaten him half of him up inside too. He says that he still shows up in local pubs and snooker clubs where he tries to hustle for money and drinks.
Yeah.
Then he went to Belfast to live close to his childhood home, and all of his teeth fell out, and he was living on baby food.
Yep.
So Lynn kept in touch.
Your teeth, man.
Oh, it destroys your whole body. Mm-hmm. So Lynn kept in touch, and she said it was so sad to see him. I'd look at him and find it hard to see the charismatic, funny, warm person I once knew. He raised loads of money for charity. I've seen him go to hospitals. At one, a little boy was in a coma and loved Alex. You couldn't help but like him because he had such a likable side to him. And then there was this bad side that came out. Yeah. So July 1999, he appears in a documentary called Tobacco Wars.
Oh.
Talking about he said that he had no urge to quit. He famously rallied against the snooker authorities for allowing tobacco companies to sponsor major events. And even though he was smoking.
Because he wanted the money.
He was still smoking with throat cancer.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, still smoking. He was diagnosed with the cancer, and he chose to appear on this, and he said that, he's speaking in a whisper. He said he hates the tobacco industry, and it has nothing but disgust. He says the tobacco companies and snooker were thick as thieves, like NASCAR. You know what I mean? They were the Winston Cup for that long. Obviously, I think they've gotten their advertising for a song for 25 years. Cigarettes are everywhere in snooker. Freebies everywhere. Most players were given free cigarettes. So, he says, though, he's still smoking. 2005, he appears at the Irish Professional Championship, but fails to get past the first round. He's making a comeback. Still looks terrible, though. Yeah. June 12, 2007, he punches a referee at a charity snooker match.
This man has cancer, and he's at a charity match punching people.
It's a charity match arranged to raise cash for young players.
Uh-huh.
It's a friendly game, just in a leisure at the Spennymoor Leisure Center.
None of this matters.
It's fucking insane. Apparently, he punched a guy in the stomach here. 58-year-old two-time world champion snapped when referee Terry Riley called a foul when the player touched the blue ball. The official restrained Higgins, and spectators came from their seats to split up the confrontation. Holy shit. Higgins, one witness said Higgins was drinking pints of Guinness between frames. Every now and again, he would do a dance and a little jig at the table. There was obviously friction between himself and the referee, who was a lovely man, very calm and collected. Between frames, the referee sat down to calm himself. At the point where it all happened, Higgins touched a blue, and the referee was going to let that go because it was an exhibition match, but White said foul stroke, but being only jokey. Then the referee called foul, so Higgins turned to the referee, glared at him for a few seconds, went up to him, and punched him in the stomach. Jesus Christ. That is...
he doesn't know... How can a man have
wild
brain damage from this sport? Because it feels
somehow,
like he has some CTE.
From liquor.
Somehow. Yeah.
2010.
Yeah.
He talks, and they said... Yeah, he said he's talking about, he's being very honest, and he's saying that, he said that his biggest fear was that he would die alone without any women in his life. Mm-hmm. So he said he needs some women. He says, this mattress hasn't seen any action in years. I'll die celibate.
The man wants sex.
Yeah, it's all he wants. Sex and liquor and cigarettes. He said, but I fucked up. Now I'm on my own. Celibate. I've been celibate for years and years, which is he's been trying, but he just can't get anybody to like him anymore. So, and who knows if he can, physically, who knows what his deal is. Instead, he would have swept into a room dressed in a loud, in his prime they're talking about. Okay. So they're saying, he said, quote, they said, what do you like to do now? He said, I love to sit and watch a bit of Cash in the Attic.
What is that?
Which is like Antiques Roadshow, basically.
Yeah, that's hot.
Yeah, he had to puree his meals. He was forced to eat that way. He said that his 10 sets of dentures were too painful to wear.
Oh, God.
So he said that he weighs just 6 stone 7 pounds is what he said he weighed, which is
80 pounds?
14 times 6 times 4, 84, 91 pounds that would be. He said that they said he struggled to move and spoke in a rasping voice, and they said he's just a disaster physically. He just looks terrible here. He says he now turns to the Bible to help him battle suicidal thoughts. Jesus. He hasn't had sex in more than 10 years.
Yeah.
And he says that his eyes fill with tears when he thinks about how he treated his last great love, Siobhan. He said, it's been terrible. I fill with tears. You got to kind of feel bad for the guy at this point. I mean, but he threw it all away, but still you feel bad for him, but not nearly as bad as you feel for software engineering, Alex Higgins.
Yeah.
His thing says, quote, software engineering shouldn't be painful. That's perfect here.
Yeah.
That is fucking hilarious. There's that guy. Where is he? In England, too. Wembley, England here.
Build a softer hairdryer.
Yeah. Alex Higgins, Vice President of Operational Excellence and Transformation and Leadership in London as well. Alex Higgins, student at Thousand Islands High School in Jefferson, New York.
Yeah.
Alex Higgins, electrical engineer specializing in instrumentation and controls in Madison, Wisconsin. Holy shit. So, yeah, he keeps talking. He said now he's just a world of regrets and heartbreak.
Yeah.
He said, I've never had a woman in this flat, and there isn't a day goes by when I don't wish Siobhan was by my side. All I've got now to stop the feelings of loneliness and depression and suicide, all I've had is my Bible my mom gave me when I was 15. Holy shit, this is
And that is tough to wank to.
Oh, that's a tough one, man. Holy shit. So he said that the last woman he mentioned sleeping with in his autobiography is a sultry singer, Marianne Faithfull. He says in his book that he had a night of passion in 92 with this woman who was, I guess, Mick Jagger's ex-girlfriend as well. He insists every day that Siobhan was still his one true love who's on his mind every day. I wish she was here to look after me now, but I fucked it up. Now I'm on my own, celibate. Not a day goes by I don't think of her. She was a lovely, brainy blonde, but the rouse and the drink and the hairdryer incident were all nails in the coffin of that one.
Sure.
Yeah, the hairdryer incident. I would say that'll...
It's tough to smack a girl in the face with that and fracture facial bones.
Yeah, when you break a face with a hairdryer, it's kind of difficult.
It's over.
Yeah, 2010, May 20th, charity dinner guests are horrified by his appearance, how skinny he is. I'm going to show you him, Jimmy.
Oh, boy.
You saw him before, remember?
Yeah.
Look at him now.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah, he looks like he died
showed up
6 months ago.
Like that?
Yes. His shirt collar is like 8 sizes too big for him. It's like an old shirt.
Yeah, he looks like a child wearing an adult suit.
Holy shit. Friends hope the dinner will raise $20,000 to pay for tooth implants so he can start eating properly again.
My God.
They said his friend said it's so sad. Until we do something, he could be facing death. They said he's just skin and bone. He looked bad for a long time, but I've never seen him look this bad.
Hold on. The man can't eat, and we're going to raise money at a dinner? We're going to make him come watch
teeth.
us eat to get him teeth so that why don't we just donate money and let him eat?
I can't. You'll have teeth soon. Don't worry. And he keeps eating. It's...
I can't. This mincemeat pie is delicious.
Oh, my God. So... he'd been through all this. He's taken to the hospital a few weeks before that because he had pneumonia and all this type of shit. They said he earned $4 million in his career, £4 million, but it was all coke, gambling, booze, women. So he couldn't afford the $20,000 implants, so he couldn't get the teeth down. Friends raised $20,000 for the new teeth, but he's too frail for surgery for a while here. So instead, he continues to smoke pack after pack of cigarettes and drink heavily with Guinness a substitute for some of the nourishment he should have been getting from food, is the way he puts it.
Oh,
so
my God.
His sisters are looking after him. He is surviving on £200-a-week disability allowance with, people. Yeah. He plays all comers at pubs and shit too. He does that. So they said he had tons of food, but he couldn't eat a bite. Right. He's having such a hard time. He said, I have enough food to feed an army, but I can't eat a bite. It's too painful to swallow this stuff now. Wow. Holy shit. He said, I want back up to about 10 stone. Right now I'm 6 stone, 7 pounds. I take liquid meals and gravy and mix these protein milkshakes.
Oh, God.
Holy shit, that's bad, man. He said that he said, quote, I'm getting old. I'm the walking dead.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Fuck, man. That's horrible. June 24th, 2010, he's found dead in his home in Belfast.
Yeah.
They said there were bouts of anorexia and addiction to sleeping pills, nights out and good time girls, even a possible suicide bid where he swallowed 150 tranquilizers with champagne. That's how many he swallowed that night back in the day, and was in a 48-hour coma. But he dies of throat cancer. Yep. People say he's the original. He's the guy who made snooker like that. Yeah. People other than Stuffy, noticed it.
They've never had a superstar of it since then. Yeah.
He was the Happy Gilmore. Yeah. People were showing up with a beer helmet with fucking tubes in it, and they were like, get these people away from our sport. But they're paying money, unlike other people. So, yeah, he's got a lot of problems, obviously, and he's dead. That's it. His sister was one person. His sister Ann had gone around to see Alex in his little flat in Belfast. Ex-wife Lynn said, when she couldn't get an answer, she phoned me right away. She said, I think he's dead. Uh-huh. Anne entered the flat and found her brother dead in his bed. It's believed he died several days earlier, possibly from malnutrition.
Jesus, starved.
I went up. Oh, man. This is from Lynn. I went upstairs and told Lauren, I've got something to tell you. And she said, my dad's dead, isn't he? They knew. And so, it was very, very sad. So it's awful, man. It's awful shit.
Shit.
But he did have, as crazy a life as you could possibly fucking had.
He spent every dime of $4 million too.
He spent every goddamn dime. Yeah, he's fucking very sad. There's articles at him afterwards about people, retrospectively saying how in awe of him they were and all that kind of thing. Lynn watched proudly as Lauren read a moving tribute at her father's packed funeral, and his funeral was a fucking event.
Really.
It was there was crowds of people around the sides of the entrance, and when the snooker guy showed up, there was big cheers going up and shit. Like they had a big thing of flowers that said the People's Champion. That's what they called him, and they cheered when they put it up outside. Like he had a hero's funeral. It was wild.
Is it pity?
So everybody loved him.
Yeah,
these people loved him. They really liked him because he was fucking nuts. He was the only guy like that. Lauren said, "I will smile whenever I hear your name and be proud. You were my dad." So that's nice.
Yeah.
Here it is, by the way. If you roll your chair, there's the People's Champion thing they put up.
Look at that.
That's pretty cool. And a triangle, red ball triangle symbolizing flowers, whatever the fuck you do with that. So there he is. There's his, he's got a cool headstone too with him on the pool table there. So there he is. Alex Higgins, everybody.
Oh my God, he's a lunatic.
That's snooker, and that's a crazy fucking story. So I'm sorry.
Snooker and their players are unhinged.
They're next. Just him, though. Everyone else is normal. And then he shows up. Oi, cunts! Fucking takes his hat off, slams a Guinness, punches the referee, lights a smoke, and takes a shot. He's fucking crazy. And slaps a lady and then takes home a prostitute and smacks her, too. Gambles the money away that he just won and doesn't pay her.
What a life.
What a life. So that's Alex Higgins. If you enjoyed that story or any of our stories, get on Apple Podcasts or wherever, not just there, any app you listen on, give us 5 stars. It helps a lot. Tell you, helps drive us up the charts. Another thing you can do is tell everyone you know about crime and sports. Tell everyone you love crime and sports. Say, hey, I love it. You should listen to this. That's what gets people to listen to it. It helps a lot. Also, you guys should be listening to Small Town Murder if you're not. If you guys are just like crime and sports people, check out Small Town Murder because there's been some wacky shit going on there that you definitely want to check out. So do that. Also, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. Get your tickets for live shows for Small Town Murder rest of the year. Chicago, August 12th. Biggest show ever.
Yeah.
Get in there. Also, Dallas, Atlanta, Charlotte. Those are for sale. A few tickets left for Philly, but they're just about gone. Right. So get in there. And thank you for doing that, everybody. Shutupandgivememurder.com. Follow us on social media at Crime and Sports on Facebook and Twitter, at Small Town Murder on Instagram. You definitely want to do that. And you want to do Patreon.
Oh.
Holy shit. Yeah. Patreon.com/crime and sports is where you're going to get all of the bonus materials. Oh, yeah. Anybody, $5 a month, a cup of coffee, a mere cup of coffee a month or above. You're going to get access to the whole back catalog, couple hundred episodes, 2 new episodes every week, 1 crime and sports, 1 small town murder. You get access to it all. This week is going to be a fun one, too. We're going to talk about, for crime and sports, we're going to do part 2 of theme park disasters.
It's so good.
Because it was crazy, and people have like, no, I need it now. Don't wait a few months. So you know what? Fuck it. We'll give you what you want. You pay for it. Why not? So you'll get it. Then for small town murder, we're going to talk about something that we've been asked to talk about a ton, is the Stanford prison experiment, where they take Stanford, the college. They took groups of students, broke them in half, and said, you're guards, you're prisoners, and just see what psychologically ensues from there. And it is a very disturbing look into human nature. It's also a fucked up test that was done with no controls either, which is really stupid.
No guardrails on Ivy League kids like this? Jesus.
But the shit they find still, even when they do the test correctly, still comes up, wow, people are monsters. So we'll talk all about that. Patreon.com/crime and sports is where you get all of that. And a shout out.
Hey.
And when do those shout-outs happen, Jimmy? Right motherfucking now. Jimmy, hit me with this shit like a pint of Guinness to the face. Hit me with these names right now.
This week's executive producers are Wanda Lovejoy and her 50th birthday. Happy birthday,
Happy
Wanda.
birthday.
Christian Aguilar's birthday, too. I think he's 27. I can't remember. I didn't write
birthday.
it. Berta's sick. Get well. The Denver show's coming up for you. You better be there, Berta, or we're there. If you've already... If you haven't heard this yet.
If you hear this later, if you don't listen early.
Right. Larry Butterfast is getting married, James. Congrats, Larry Bear.
Hey,
good
for you, Larry.
That's awesome.
Good for you. He's a good dude.
He is. William Inskeep in San Diego and his disabled friends he hangs with. Disabled vets he hangs with. Why did I say friends?
Not just his...
They might be friends,
not just
too.
his pals. My friends are all in wheelchairs because that's how I roll. Get
that's
it?
Just,
ha.
That's just who
what
I
joke
like to
did
be
I say?
with.
Yeah.
Jesus.
All right, go ahead.
Thanks, Will. Kyle Norweg, Shelby Merlin, Gerald Adams, Mrs. Radret, I believe, and Lucy, the truck dog. Thank you guys so much for everything. Other producers this week are WWF jobber Steve Shitstain King. What? I don't know.
Nice.
Steve King. He's a shit stain, evidently. Do you know
Apparently.
who he is? I don't know. Peyton Meadows, Captain Frank Ferrio, OJ TV Dennis Mello. Who's Dennis Mello? Was that the guy from what?
That's the
guy from
The Wire.
Yeah.
The Wire, yeah.
Captain Frank Ferrio? I don't know him. He's the
Mello
OG,
is
though. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Mello is he's the guy who was with Colvin doing Amsterdam. He's the actual Jay Landsman.
Got it. Okay.
The guy who plays the fat sergeant, his actual person is Jay. Okay, there you go.
Also, Chico's Bail Bonds. Kelsey Clark
Sponsoring.
clearing her debt. Thank you, Kelsey.
Bears.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Janice Hill, David Benencoso, Andy Pruitt, Drew with no last name, Anthony Bustos, James Smith Williams, Aaron Ross, Lindsay Gutierrez, Tim Watcher, BMF 210, Mary Lou Lopez, Tyan Betcher. What? Oh, boy, I don't know what it is. I don't want to know. Ashley Baum, Dan Merritt, Sonia Lewis, Anna Hodgkin, Sarah Zimmerman, Hale Sagan, 89, I don't know, Dahlia Galindez, Tom Menefrin, Melanif, Allie Mae, Catherine Schneider, Amelia Carr, Megan Denyer, Chuck the Sniffer, Eric Zimmer, Raymond Mattis Jr., Kelsey with no last name, Briley Shanks. Sorry, Briley. Carissa Herzberg. Christine Bergerson Smith. Christine with no last
lucky
name.
didn't call you cocksucker, Christine. It starts with a C, so.
They're so
He's
close.
all messed up.
Christine, Brina Crothers, Alexa S, Jamie B. Brick, Glenna Doyle, T-Bit 61, Claire C, Pamela Watrous Fitness, Ben Streeter, Lauren McCarthy, Chris Heil, that's a terrible last name, Ryan Rolfs, Michaela Hendricks, Time Guiazdon. Okay. Laura Employ. Cecilia Watson, Anthony with no last name, Mallory Morrison, Christy Mayhene, Blair Parker, Dakota with no last name, Pacific Chick 63, Lily.
His hand's on his forehead right now, which means he's in great peril and just a real anxiety. You have no idea. If you see the hand go to the forehead, he's really
Lily's Jericho. Kobe Booth, maybe? I don't know. Cynthia Rizza Chitulo, Hunter Van Falken.
Something Italian.
I don't think he was even Italian. I don't know what that is. Razu. All right. I'm not even going to try again. William Hogg, Deanna Deacon, CJ, I think. Iandino Sereni, Carmen Hackworth, Sheila Boulot, Todd Morocco, Sarah Sloan, Tim A., Scott Hunter, Kitty Sherry, Hayden Parrish, Bruce the Weak Sauce, Madison Folsom, Christy Martin, A Little Taste of Peter. That's disgusting. Emmanuel Bellegarde, Wesley Gregorisi.
Family Guy reference.
Is it?
To Peter.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, it's a Family Guy reference.
Right, there it is. Emmanuel Bellegarde. I think I said that. Wesley Gregoris. Cynthia Wolf, Jake Dorancy, Kevin Jensen, Ty McMinney, Eric as Quizavastigard, Marcella Fletcher, Shaza H, Lydia Langford, Matthew Dodds, Jalissa Williams, Dakota Morgan, Betsy Garcia, Kyle Rudy, Amasini, Keith Zamorin, Ryan with no last name, Tyler Anders, Melissa Markowski, Wicked Witch of the Whorehouse, of the Warehouse.
Oh,
yeah.
That's probably more.
That's another one.
Sorry.
It's a reference from something, I'm sure. Jonathan Stout,
She
Patricia.
might work at a warehouse.
Boxan, Diana.
Not a whorehouse, as you put.
Diana Merlino, Garden Wyckoff, Gardone Wyckoff, Kimberly Ward, Senior Meth Falcon, Josh Peters, Derek Brox, Bella Krompachacher, W. Rush, David Dillard, Stephen Albinski, Cynthia Brubaker, Saul Atude, Maria Thompson, Dickie James, Gwendolyn Steele Longo, Rory Jr., Craig Bettridge, Jeanette Maganana, Diana Fody, Andrew Nauf, Jessica Spangler, Sinister Cindy, Janice Wostenberg, Blake Allen, Mabel with no last name, Jim Anderson, Erica Kenny, Kara Wallen, Nicole Ford Thompson, Tyson Runkle, Saren Elk Eck, just EK, Brett Gerlich, Chris Sharp, Carly Pearson, Joshua Murphy, Brandon Kirk, Naima Louise Wallace, Adam Hudson, Lexi Arison, Melissa Bilota, George 29, Marissa Rivers, Lisa Liu, Melissa Whetstone, Emily Eichstead Mendelson, Dahlia Ariaga, Krista Willoughby, Glockavelli, Lena Ikua, what? Adam Booker, Nicholas Stewart, Stephanie Porth, Annie Bailey, Devin Kindle, Abby with no last name, Chris Emile, Jaws with no last name, Chris Powell, Jessica Dieters, Mitch and Mitch and Letty, Lynn Miller, Teal 1991, 1991, Mark Woods, Crystal with no last name, Pierre Norman, Hannah Wright, Roz McKee, JoJo Blonde, Norma, Bayers, Jessica DePriest, Chelsea with no last name, Austin R., Jeffrey Still, Debbie Burns, Matthew Richard Chardy, Holly Black, that's it, Elena Swanson, Timothy Ridgway, Ryan Lockie maybe, Jessica Lussier, Magellan D, Michelle Smith, Kate O, Julie Laughter, I think maybe Loader, Ben B, Jan Summers, Jalen Creighton, Kevin Newman, Burnt Everson, Johnny Grafeo, Nancy Parker, Miss Miyagi. We never hear about her. She's around.
Really? Where the hell she died?
She did die. That's right. Yeah. Rebecca Trongard, Christina with no last name, Macy Stockwell, Audrey Tiller.
Mr. Miyagi's got some new pussy. Sorry.
Wasn't it? I don't know. It's very weird. Audrey Tiller. Lionel with no last name, Chase Stanley, Mitch with no last name, Jamie Frost, Aaron Florist. She's turned into a cabinet maker. Michelle Aerosmith.
Make them cabinets.
Not that Aerosmith. That's all right. Tanya, Edwards, Corey, James, Lauren, Estrada, Audrey, Forrest, BC with no last name, Shayna, Atkinson, Jill, Helmy, Allison Grouch, Allison Couch, Amy Graham, Denise Anderson, and all of our patrons. You guys are amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody, you wonderful, wonderful bastards out there. Thank you for all that you do for us. We couldn't tell you how much we appreciate it. Thanks for everything that you do. Thanks for hanging with us. Keep hanging with us. You want to follow us on social media? Real easy. Shutupandgivememurder.com. All the links are right there. All the links to everything are right there. Get yourself a T-shirt and sit back and wear it and, I don't know, wipe your ass with it if you want. I don't give a fuck. It's your shirt. So enjoy. Thank you so much. And until... Well, no, that's the other one.
Yeah.
Live from the Crime and Sports Studios. We will see you next week.
What?
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.